be ready with the Fs in chat.
All right, then it's welcome to another Faded Connections community podcast for Path of Exile. This is episode number 73. The Gauntlet is upon us. For people who don't know what the Gauntlet is, that is a event hosted by Zizaran and Viyro with huge prizes from sponsors. And the event is in SSFHC and is always a relatively hard version of Path of Exile with strong extra mods. And for this specific Gauntlet, we'll discuss the mods in detail, but they seem to be the heftiest mods that we've seen so far. And we welcome cArn, sirgog, and Tryxt to discuss all this in detail. If you don't know, I want to quickly say cArn is one of the most successful competitors in a Gauntlet. One of the most hardcore players, and actually the only person, if I recall correctly, to ever down the endgame fight the Feared in the Gauntlet mods. So far, I don't think it's gonna change this one. Though.
I thought it was gonna change last Gauntlet, but I don't know.
Yeah, last Gauntlet, I've seen some attempts that looked pretty good, but it didn't end up happening. And we got with us also sirgog, who is a high output YouTuber who does a lot of interesting Path of Exile content from an analytical perspective, often very number driven, and knows a lot of the ins and outs of the game, and is also, of course, a Gauntlet enthusiast. And we got with us Tryxt, who is a gamer on nowadays pretty casual time schedule. Because he's working a lot, but he's also a Gauntlet veteran who managed to secure rank 2 Templar in the most recent Gauntlet last league. So yeah, glad to have you all on. We'll just go in the same order as I just presented you, and you say hi and add whatever you want. So cArn, welcome, thanks for joining. What do you want the viewers to know about you?
Yeah, no problem. A pleasure to be here. Well, I mean, there's not much to... I don't know. It depends what people need to know, want to know. You know,
like maybe talk a little bit about what's your main focus in Path of Exile. What do you enjoy about the game? What drives you to play as hard as you do?
Well, the same thing. Every game I've been playing, like committing a lot. It's just competition. That's all. Like racing, getting better. Yeah,
just a competitive gamer at heart.
Yeah, just racing, winning Gauntlet. I still haven't won one, and I did. Yeah, well, I gotta change.
Yeah, now you're actually on a good internet connection and in a different country than usual. So
yeah, we'll see.
Everything's set up for the big success.
Hopefully.
And yeah, great. And welcome, sirgog. What do you want to add to what I was able to talk about?
I guess I'd say that I tend to be this sort of, you might term a relaxed power gamer. Like if I put my mind to it, I'll go really hard in a particular part of the game. But a lot of the time I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to chill out, have a bit of fun, find some interesting interactions and report them. And that's been my general approach for the last little while. I certainly don't have the Gauntlet experience the other two have got. I'm hoping to hit level 90 for the first time in this one, but I'll keep playing it as long as I'm having fun. And I generally have more fun in games when the game is kicking my ass. You know, like I will burn out on a league when I get to the point that I can beat the Feared deathless comfortably on a character. Then at that point, I'll be like, nothing left to do. And then I'll get bored and I'll disappear for a while and then I'll be back for the next one.
I see it the same way. It's like the as long as it's an uphill climb and it's really tough, it's really interesting. But the moment that the game becomes flat and everything sort of fades into irrelevance, and it's like whatever. But luckily, I'm bad enough to almost never reach that point in SSFHC, and certainly not in Gauntlet. So that's great.
Well, I did have Gwennon give me a Mage Blood really early this league, so that sort of meant that I've been in that silly spot of like, oh, if I use this Mage Blood well, I'm going to end up not having fun. So I'm going to try and make terrible builds work with it.
I like that approach. Instead of making the best builds better, just make inferior builds like meet the minimum threshold of viability.
Yep. And for what it's worth, Black Zenith and Winter Orb does not seem to do that.
Awesome. Welcome Tryxt as well. How have you been? How's it going?
It's going. It's been hectic. I've been back to work, moving. Basically, like I work a seasonal job that involves me moving over to another province. So I moved within the province right now, and then next month I'm moving to the job in the other province. So my move before I move, which is why I haven't got a chance to play too much of the league. I do want to make one correction though. I got rank 2 Witch, not rank 2 Templar, which makes no difference whatsoever because Steel beat me in both. So it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, then
you got number 1 Witch, number 1 Templar.
Yeah, because Steel had the rank 1 on the other ones. No, it makes sense because I remember you playing DD, so why would you play that on anything else but Witch?
Because Steel played it on Inquisitor as well, so did Garatha. It was actually really hilarious because Garatha was ahead of Steel. Garatha ripped. Steel then took first place. Then Steel restarted on a Templar, and Garatha had already restarted on Templar. Garatha ripped. Steel took first place. So yeah, it was a fun one. But honestly, I don't get a ton of time to play these days, and I didn't get a ton of time to play last time as well. So when I played Gauntlet, I just kind of kept failing upwards in a way. I thought I'd die way before Maven. I wanted to die on Maven. Suddenly I'm fighting Maven and I kill Maven. It's like, okay, well, Hidden's down, Maven's down, let's go Uber Elder, kill Uber Elder, and then tried to farm the frags for Edziri and messed that up, unfortunately, because I only had like an hour and a half left. But I'm weirdly like the most casual Gauntlet player, yet somehow success, I guess.
Well, that's a testimony for the strength of the build that you were playing, but also not everyone could do that even on that build. So it definitely shows that you're a competent player.
But that's also the thing, though. It was a really strong build, and everyone is going to eventually realize that I just got lucky. But you know what? I'll ride out the wave until that happens.
Awesome. Well, yeah, great to have you all here. Let's go into the juice directly. So the gauntlet is this time with specific mods. Let me quickly bring them up on the screen. We got not only increased life for unique monsters by 100%, but we also have, I think it's on the Zizaran page, up like this, out the dog. Favorable color scheme. And the gauntlet is with 100% increased life for unique monsters, 70% increased area of effect, 40% increased attack, cast, and movement speed, not 20, which is the standard for this mod. That's the mod version that we have available for public private leagues, and this is the special version of it that Ziz secured in his deal with GGG, apparently. And then we have 100% increased damage for monsters, notably no physical as extra this time, and as almost every gauntlet, we have the 2 additional projectiles. First thoughts, what was your first impression of this when you saw it, cArn? You instantly realize how bad this is?
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, this is going to be the hardest gauntlet by far. It's this is going to be really hard. We're going to die a lot. Everybody's going to die.
What personally strikes you as the worst?
100% most of them. But actually, the haste, like 40% speed, is going from 20 to 40% is actually a big deal. Because like the bosses like start acting like way too fast. Like when you're at 20% speed, it's okay. You can still like react. You sometimes just kill a boss, so it's not that big of a deal. But with 40%, it's gonna reach the speed where you might not be able to like finish whatever you're doing and like dodge an attack, for example.
Yeah,
like you won't be able to like finish. That's gonna be huge. People are gonna die just because they just misjudge timings and stuff. And the other thing is like the monster damage. Monster damage, like before it was only 20%, right? And we had about 90% physics extra, which means like chaos damage, I didn't really do anything. Physical damage was not really that much more dangerous, but now absolutely everything's gonna do double damage. So basically, whatever was happening to us, like in Act 1, remember, Act 1 was a nightmare with physics extra. Because everything was doing like a little bit over double damage. But now it's gonna be double damage literally everywhere. So everything's gonna be like Act 1.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, you're right. Like normally in Act 1 with the physics extra, that's
because you have no resistance,
you have resist, but then after Act 1, by the end of Act 2 at latest, you have your resists capped. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like before, it was basically like what would it be? It would be like 50%. Monsters would do like what 50% more damage compared to base game. Now they'll do just 100% more. So it's like what we'll take like basically like a third more. They'll do a third more damage, like a 33% more damage, I think, overall compared to before, and the speed on top of it. So yeah, it's gonna be rough.
I'm just imagining a normal Atzeri Flame Blast that's charged for like a quarter of a second that kills you versus Uber Atzeri versus Uber Atzeri being witnessed by Maven versus us having to do the feared now.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm dead way early.
Yeah, twin bosses are gonna be a nightmare. Like I remember I tested, I did the Elder Slayers right on my Slayer, and I did it with I did one with haste, which is like the same speed we're gonna have now, because like when you roll on in maps with invitations, like 40%, so it was the same speed, and that thing is crazy. They just don't stop. You don't have time to do anything. You just spend your time running and dodging stuff. It's like borderline unplayable.
So not to jump too far ahead, but we have the choice of Elder Slayers or the Twisted. They give the same amount of points. You do one of the two.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell I'm doing Elder Slayers. There's no way.
I don't think Twisted is free though. Like people are gonna die to Twisted.
No, it's not.
Twisted is really big with these mods.
Also, I did some numbers on the RNG factors there as well. Because I wasn't sure, like, Zizaran said the reason that they're giving you the choice is because they felt like RNG was too impactful when they had Twisted before.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a big factor. Like, if you are capable of beating Elder Slayers, this is going to address that issue. On average, it would take you 16.66. If you count 1 point every time you have either an Elder Guardian or an Elder Slayer map drop, it would take you 16.66 points on average to get exactly the Elder Slayers. It would take 21.75 to get both, but it only takes 8 to get the first one. So you're going to get the first one of those two well before you get any specific one on average. And so that's going to be a big factor on that people will do whichever one they get first, because you might not get the other one for a while. And if you get lucky and get the Twisted first, it's going to be a lot safer.
Yeah, like I've lost. I lost count of how many races I've lost to not getting it Twisted. It's been like I've been losing my mind over this. I think I've lost the Gauntlet Chill one. I just couldn't finish because I didn't have the Twisted. I never got a Twisted. The one there was like the Scion race against Darky too. In the was it Ultimatum Gauntlet? I think it was the same story. I was like a couple hours ahead of Darky, and I just never got it Twisted. Or was it an Eradicator map? I think I just didn't have the Eradicator map, so I couldn't do my Twisted. So again, couldn't finish, and that happened like in a few other races like this, and it was oh my god, yeah. I'm happy they're doing it like this in this event, like so to make it so that you don't get completely disqualified basically by RNG on this, by invitation RNG, which should not be a thing, by the way. I don't know why we're not getting invitations as soon as we witness all the bosses.
100% it should be a guaranteed drop.
Invitation only factored in the maps. One other thing you mentioned earlier about the map mods having the haste and having haste and the impact that has. I think people often forget how much haste stacks with AoE. So, for instance, if you're fighting Innocence and you're just considering Innocence as slam, the circular slam, you need to move 30% further because the 70% AoE. You need to move a little bit more than 30% further to get out of that. It's about 30% increased radius, and you need to do it in 5/7 as much time. Yeah. So that means that means that things like Quicksilver flasks are more important than they would normally be. And I think players will die because they don't ration their Quicksilver flasks on bosses. And you'll see a lot of portaling out mid-boss in order to replenish flask charges on a Quicksilver for that reason. That'll be the combination of the haste and the in KOE.
Yeah, I think the first Gauntlet they added AoE, I was avoiding all bosses that had like slams that could kill you. Like Dominus, for example, I was not doing the maps that had Dominus in it because I think it was back when it was with slams, right? So it's back when we used Smoke Mine for movement. So you didn't really have like an instant. At least personally, I was not using 2 movement skills. I only had Smoke Mine, and that made it like if you had speed in AoE, it was extremely dangerous with any boss that had like a slam that could one shot you.
Even well short of maps, that Rogue Exile does chaos damage with the can't think of the name, but chaos dot projectiles. It's called Essence Drain, the skill. The one that uses less multiple projectiles Essence Drain normally, so it'll be GMP in this. But that thing is going to be a killer with 100% increased damage. That's going to be a wrecking ball.
Yeah, all chaos damage is going to be extremely dangerous.
Yeah, generally, I think what I'm really scared of with the 100% increased damage is ailments and things that are like pure elemental abilities. The ailments, because previously, when you have Physis Extra, yeah, the hit gets bigger, but since the ailment scales off of the base damage, the Physis Extra doesn't do anything for bleeds, say. But now, with 100% increased global, all ailments, poison, ignites, bleeds will hurt like hell. Corrupting blood will hurt really badly, but also stuff that is like pure elemental abilities, like mage skeletons with the spark skeletons indoors with the additional projectiles. That can be very scary. I mean, obviously, most of the time you're looking to kill those things before they even start casting, but if for whatever reason you can't, then that's going to quickly get out of hand.
That's why Voidbearers in Docks are on my list of the worst monsters in the axe.
Because of the incinerate, the old incinerate thing. Yeah, I personally didn't feel that bad in my practice when I did Docks. No, of course, granted, the practice doesn't have the exact mods, but I feel it's easy to kill them before they do it.
It's pretty easy to replicate the 100% damage now. Just play with the half HP or... Yeah, just play with half HP.
Yeah, I seen you use Petrified Blood to emulate that.
No, not Petrified Blood. If you use Petrified Blood, it does something for you. You only lose like 18%, you don't lose 50%.
So how would you...
So basically go no life nodes.
Yeah, there's like 2 ways. Like on my Sabo run, I just did Arrogance with the 25% aura, and I would reserve like 50% pretty much. And for Sabo has the sockets, for example, so I just do this. That's still not accurate because then your regen, your passive regen is too good. The flasks are too good. It's like your flasks are twice as good, your regen is twice as good, etc. So it's not exactly accurate. Your stun threshold is still the same. Which is not good. It's supposed to be like twice. You're supposed to get stunned like a lot more, shocked for a lot more, shield for a lot more, etc. So it's not exactly accurate. And then I did another run on Duelist that, for Duelist, for example, you don't have the gem socket, so I had to do something different, and I just did one with the 20% monster damage, and I just don't spec any life nodes like Tryxt, and that does it.
Yeah, that's good. Sure. I was thinking Petrified Blood because you were playing a Sabo practice run at the time, and I was like, hey, that's smart because Sabo doesn't benefit from Petrified Blood.
No, but if you do Petrified Blood, you still it still makes you only take 40%. Like 40% goes. So you don't really lose that much. You only lose like 18% of your max hit basically, which is.
Tryxt, do you have anything that you're specifically scared of that hasn't been mentioned yet? Are you planning to do practice runs, right?
So I'm hoping to. I haven't really played the league very much, so my thought is I should probably do a practice run of some kind of close to Gauntlet mods, but something that's suitable enough for me to be able to kind of get more reps in, I guess you could say. just because I haven't fought Searing Exarch, I haven't fought Eater of Worlds. I know a fair bit about both fights just because I've watched people do it and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think we've touched on Roas and Mudflats. So we obligatory, we need to chat about that. Because I don't know if I'm making it out of 40%, 100% increased Roa damage. I know the shock and chill was horrible before, but
the seal should not one shot though, because with Physis Extra, it was like putting like one charge would like put you like what down to like 40%, 30% HP. It depends on what you're playing. But not but yeah, it's still gonna kill like 2 charges. You have 1 charge, so if you get charged once, you knock out or you dead.
Yeah, but you know you're getting stunned by that first charge, and also there's like another one a millisecond behind because it's 40%.
Yeah, 40. That's what I'm most scared about. Is 40%. There's so many things are gonna catch people off guard.
100%. I think Karn's entirely right when he said that people are going to mistime things quite often. That's going to lead to their death. I think it's just going to be flame dash deaths a lot of the time. Like you won't have enough time to flame dash twice. And you might need to, and you're going to get hit, and that's going to kill you. But Shaper Beam also. So Uber Elder fight, Shaper fight. That Shaper Beam is going to do a lot of damage with that 100% increased. And with that speed, you're maybe not going to get out of it for 0.5, 0.6 seconds, right? That might be enough to actually kill you. If you mistime anything.
Isn't it like only 15,000 unmitigated a second? So 3750 after resists normally?
Yeah.
So 7,500 after resists with the mods. Like that's
death.
It's death if you're in it for a second with no recovery and your resists are only 75. But you may well have resists above that. I don't know. I don't. The Shaper Beam isn't as deadly as his balls.
Actually, I've seen the thing is like most builds are strong against hits. They have decent defense against hits. Like there's very few builds or ascendancies in the game right now that have good recovery. It's like right now it's like Udo, what's there, obviously, and Chieftain. I guess this like Chieftain will jug to an extent, but you know there's not really a build you can play that's good.
Inquisitor.
Yeah, Inquisitor too. Yeah, but the thing is like even Inquisitor regen is like not enough. Or was it high? Because I think I saw. Yeah, Inquisitor is probably enough though to survive this. Yeah, you have time to react for sure too. So something like a Shaper Beam.
But this is my prediction, at least.
It has the regen.
I think we're going to see. Well, I'm sure everybody already realized this. We're going to see a lot of champion, right? You're going to see a ton of people playing champion, and that's why Shaper Beam scares me. Because you're either playing EA, you're playing Helix, you're going to farm for Omniscience, right? Like if you get Omniscience, that's what you're doing. It's going to be Lightning Strike, Omniscience, Champ. So yeah, any degens whatsoever are going to be terrifying. But as I mentioned before, like I think the biggest things are, like as sirgog said, the balls, because they penetrate, resist. Same with Atziri's Flame Blast, things like that. Normal Atziri, people are going to die to real easy. And if there's going to be an Atziri bounty, you know how people were doing them before for every class, you get a bounty for killing Atziri. If anybody's pushing the pace to try and kill Atziri quickly, they're going to be surprised at how quick they die.
Yep.
So.
Yep, and not just Atziri, but the 2 mini bosses as well. Like the bad crap on the ground from the trio, from when you kill one of them.
The trio is going to be so dangerous, yeah.
But also the Twinned Oversouls. Like people always neglect how dangerous they are, but 40% increased action speed on that lightning beam. That's terrifying.
Or on the ball lightning, extra proj, increased speed. It's going to be a quick death on any Atziri boss.
And it's double damage now. It's double damage.
Ouch. Yeah. Do you know what I think will be the number 1 killer though? Of assuming like counting only characters level 50 and up. Have a guess.
9 boss.
So Depraved Trinity. What do you guys reckon?
This gonna be the biggest killer
for 50 pluses.
50 pluses. 50 pluses probably. I mean, I think it's either. Yeah, it has to be Trinity.
Either Trinity or.
Well, either any of them. Probably either Chevron or. Actually, yeah, Chevron or Trinity itself, and maybe Dodri in the Toxic Conduits.
Yeah,
might also.
Dodri are scary. But
Yeah.
We're forgetting Arakali.
okay, see, I was going to say Essences of Greed.
Essences
Those-
of what? Greed. Oh, yeah,
Greed.
right.
7
Yeah.
projectiles. Each one applies a corrupting blood stack. You get 3 of them, you're dead unless you've got an instant flask for it.
To be fair, though, like with the availability of corrupted blood immunity via the element immunity masteries, everyone should be aiming to be CB.
By some point early, but maybe not as early as Essences of Greed come online.
Yeah, for sure. You probably we're not gonna be CB immune. Even if you have it, like even for Duelist, you don't really go for it that early. And Duelist has it like right there. Duelist and Marauder have it like right there. It's not. You don't get it that early.
Fair enough. I'm like really scared of CB thing, and my Templar practice. I mean, Templar has it really close by. You just go up there, 4 points out of the Templar start that you regular start tree.
And
Or-
Bleed is a lot more scary to me. I think Bleed is a lot more dangerous than CB. Bleed already like. I think it was like this one patch, was it last league or 2 leagues ago, where they buffed Bleed. I don't know if they even said anything. I think it got stealth change, or I don't know if they said anything. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I noticed like one patch, was it? I think it was not last league; it was the league before. It was Scourge in Scourge League, yeah. In Scourge League, I noticed like the bleeds, all the elements like bleed, poison, like we're doing like an insane amount of damage. Starting that league, like I almost died. Like almost, I remember there's like this one event happened to me where I almost died at 99 on my Slayer, like with like what 5.3k regen, and I almost died like within like half a second to a bleed, like in a map, just random map.
Ooh, the
Tier
leech.
16. Yes, I threw over leech. Like I barely logged out on time, but I was like I died like within like, under a second. Like, threw over leech. To the bleed. That never happened, because up until then you would play Slayer, you just ignore leech. Bleed. Sorry, bleed was not a thing. But ever since that patch, like Bleed has been insanely rippy, and now
What did they do specifically to bleed? I remember them globally buffing poison damage. Right? They made it like poison.
Yeah. I don't know. Something happened with Bleed. Maybe it happened at the same time they did with poison. I don't know, but maybe it was like all ailments. I have no idea. I just know that there's definitely something different.
Maybe it was the removal of Basalt Flask mitigate. At least that played into it. Basalt Flask used to be sent.
I never used that flask. That flask was garbage.
Were you fighting a monster that was spawned by an expedition encounter, affected by the remnant that amps up bleed to the moon?
No. I don't click that thing. That thing's dangerous. Yeah, I think it was. It might have been an invasion boss. I think about it. That does rupture. That applies rupture.
So when that happened, I just come back from like a major hiatus from PoE. Like I played Ritual, I played a little bit of Ultimatum, and I didn't play any of Expedition whatsoever. I think I played about 15 minutes literally in total. Then I came back and started playing Scourge a little bit, and I thought it was my mind like playing tricks on me. I was like, okay, hold on. Do bleeds just really, really hurt? No.
Yeah.
They probably hurt this much before, right? No, there's no way in hell they did. Like when I got back, they were terrifying.
Yeah, I talked about it to Quantric. We talked about it because we had the same experience, like bleed and poison doing like insane amount of damage compared to normal, and it's still doing the same. Like even just today in practice, I got hit by like some insane bleed. People are gonna die so fast to bleed. Like bleed's gonna be. I'm really scared of bleed this time.
Do not run Vuln maps ever in Gauntlet.
Yeah. Oh no.
Ever at all.
Yeah.
Do not farm the bleed zones either. Aqueduct, Blood Aqueduct, Dried Lake.
Blood Aqueduct is okay. It's not so much bleed. It's like a bunch of CB.
I hate Blood Aqueduct. I think Blood Aqueduct is one of the most
they don't really have bleed
underrated
in Blood
zone.
It's not really bleed in Blood Aqueduct. I don't think so.
Yeah, but
I think it's CB.
The combination of having the Tornado Shot Archers and the Stygian Revenants, the two very rippy mob types that with the right mods can easily kill you instantly, and that combined with the very restrictive layout of Blood Aqueducts where you can't really like maneuver a lot to the side, I hate it. I always try to tell people, don't farm blood aqueducts. I mean, if you know what you're doing, do whatever you want. But if you're a new player, you're looking to easy farm, don't be lured into blood aqueducts thinking that it's as safe as people make it.
You go to
It's
Upper
so-
Bridge instead.
Oh, what is
Yeah,
it?
Harbor Bridge is a better choice.
Oh,
In this event, Harbour Bridge should be pretty safe.
it's kind of. I don't think it's safe. I feel like a Harbor Bridge is a bit rippy. Like because you get frozen a lot. You get frozen, you get chilled. If you don't have the flask already, if you're not immune, you're gonna get frozen and chilled a lot. I don't like the Harbor Bridge at all. Personally,
Okay, so
at least.
Garen Fields then, or oh no, that's got bleed in it.
Which one?
Grain Gate. I'm just
Oh,
thinking.
Green
White
Gate.
House.
No, yeah, no, the key is good. The key. How do you pronounce this?
Key.
Yeah, the key.
The key is pretty good.
Okay.
It's a
The
very
key is-
underrated place, I think.
Yeah, the key is really good. There's a ton of monsters. It's good XP.
It's
I
basically
love
the
the-
first zone in that area that has like crazy good mob density.
Yeah, it's really good.
But we got to also keep in mind there's like two mobs that people don't realize bleed. Well, most people might realize at this point, but there's a snake that punctures, and there's the dogs that puncture
Oh, these hurt so much.
so badly.
Oh yeah.
Those dogs, like, because you think they're the fire dogs, and suddenly you're bleeding, and you take 2 steps and you're dead.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Slave Pen's in Act 5, right, for them?
Act 5 and Act 1 and I think 2. I think isn't Western or Northern Forest also have puncture snakes?
Yeah, I think it does.
But yeah, so basically we all agree that 100% increased damage poses the biggest risk, but as cArn pointed out, we can prepare for that. We can practice that by just having half the life basically, and like making sure that our recovery is not as high as it would be, so that you don't get an unfair advantage for recovery. But the thing that you really can't prepare for, which combines with the 100% increased damage in an unfortunate way, is the haste, because right now we can't practice for the 40%, right? You can't emulate that as easily as 100% increased damage. I think that's going to catch a lot of people off guard because they practice with 20% increased, including myself, right? All the practice, I know exactly at which boss I can do what movement at which point in the fight, and bait myself into thinking, oh, I can sneak in an attack here.
I mean, you can like builds that use skill bots, for example, they can just practice without skill bots. That's a start already.
Yeah, so remove chill from your build, and basically all your currency now goes into rolling fleet on every single one of your maps. Perfect. Practice achieved.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the acts, that's the scary.
Yeah, the axe is risky. I mean, yeah. To be completely honest, going from 20 to 40, it's not necessary that everything suddenly is gonna be like flying to the screen. Like, it's not gonna be like that. It's just gonna be that timings are gonna be a lot trickier in some situations where you, like I said, where you do have time to like finish whatever you're doing and then dodge, right? Finish your animation and then flame dash away or something. It's mostly that, because from it's not as big as an increase as no speed to 20 speed, for example. Like going from 20 to 40 is not as big. It's just like
Yeah,
the timings. You're just gonna push the timings to a place where it's gonna be really dangerous and awkward.
Yeah, exactly. It just puts a little bit of icing on top, and the 20% haste is already scary when you combine it with, say, like an acceleration shrine and a haste aura rare, something like that. Already can jump into a room and instantly get blown up. Now, more so, just reaches that threshold of chaotic behavior, unpredictable damage taking.
Which is a big change also from last Gauntlet, because last Gauntlet felt that bosses were just very strong, very scary. Generic mapping, like just generally mapping, wasn't that bad. We're going to see a ton of just regular mapping deaths of things that you thought was innocuous, and suddenly you're dead.
Yeah, because like
just dead.
like one of the biggest thing that more speed does, like monsters actually get to hit you. Like normally in PoE, monsters don't really get to hit you because you hit first. But like with 40% speed, they're a lot more likely to actually get to hit you. If you're not stun immune, sometimes you get stunned, and
Yep.
Bam, just snowballs out of control and you're dead.
Yeah, right.
I
That
like how
reminds me.
also. Oh, sorry. I was going to say,
No,
when you
please
say
go.
snowballs out of control, that's like within a millisecond.
Oh yeah, that's
That's literally what happens in a
This is like-
millisecond. So.
Yeah. I don't know. It's, like a
It's
speed
true though,
snowball.
but it's just like
Yeah.
the fraction of time that it's going to take now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of deaths that look like a one shot to the casual observer, but if you watch them back frame by frame, you'll see it's actually a 4-shot. But the first shot inflicted a stun that never expired before the character was dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Even in practice, I got stunned so much. Don't have the global trees. I don't even want to think about how bad it's going to be your physics. I mean, they changed that a while ago that physical hits are more likely to stun you than elemental hits, right?
Yes, so what they did there was they made it so that it used to be that they were all treated as 100% of their value. I think they're now treated as Fizz as 125% of the damage and Ali and Chaos as 75%. So once you add that 100% on, if a monster's doing 100 damage in the normal game, it's going to stun like it's doing 250 if it's physical, and it's going to stun like it's doing 150 if it's Ali or Chaos.
Isn't it attack versus spells? I thought the difference was attacks and spells.
You may be right that it's just spells that were given those.
Yeah, I think it's attacks that just stun at 100%, and spells have lesser
Look
stun
into that.
threshold.
Sure. I thought it was
I
also
think you're
physical.
right, I'm not sure.
I might be wrong. I'm not sure. I just know that attacks spells have a lower chance to stun than attacks. It's the same for players.
Being stunned in PoE is one of the worst feelings in any game, though. For everybody who's like in chat and for you guys, everybody remembers desync, right? Everyone loved that when our game was full of desync. That was beautiful. We enjoyed that so very much. And that's what it feels like every single time that you're desyncing. Whenever you get stunned, it feels like lag, which is such a weird feeling.
Yeah, I hate stuns. I don't know. I hate it there in the game. There's like some. I remember once I was practicing for Gauntlet, and like I entered the rest was Dream in Act 4, and I don't know. There's something wrong. There's something weird with the chickens there, the chicken bowmen. These guys actually just like perma stun you. Like every hour is like a stun. It's actually kind of crazy. I remember like I had a clip of this, like me just literally dancing with the chicken because every single arrow was stunning me, and I'm sitting there just I don't know, wiggling around for like 15 seconds straight. It's kind of I don't know. I wish they did something about stuns, at least in like one leveling, because it feels like it doesn't work properly.
So what you're saying also is Darky's not the only person afraid of chickens.
I mean, chickens, they're dangerous, man. That's for revenge.
And another thing we haven't talked about that maybe sirgog wants to write on that. For physical damage, we're all used to have armor now, right? We're all running Determination, we're all running Granite Flask, we're all building some degree of armor, especially hybrid items can roll spell suppression as well. But the amount of damage that we take is deceptively higher, right? Because
yeah, I forgot to mention
hits.
this actually for the practice. Like one thing that I've been doing in practice also is make sure my armor is not too high, because you basically have to treat your armor like you have like half the armor that you normally have. We're basically back to old armor before they reworked it. Because they made it like when they reworked it, they made armor like twice as good basically, and now we're gonna take double damage. So basically, it's back to before the buff.
Yep.
So like for practice, I'll practice like I said, half HP and half armor basically. Like have the level 1 determination for a while, and then use it like level 11 or something. Like instead of level 20, or level 12 maybe instead of level 20, something like this. And try to not have armor base that are too high. But I mean that's too much trouble. I'll just use the determination.
Yeah, I think level 1 determination, if your character is mostly wearing armor gear, and level 5 or 10 if your character is wearing mostly evasion gear, will probably be the best way to do it. And just sit at that and play the game with that and see how it feels. Like that is definitely a big factor.
So with all these things in mind, like I guess the barrier of entry for Gauntlet is just so much more substantially higher than it was previously. And there's going to be some people who are going to be quite upset at that because I guess Gauntlet's a little bit for everyone, right? Everyone wants to be able to play and participate and try it. But with there being, it's a draw right now for level 50, you get put into a pool and, they draw for microtransactions for the box. I don't think there's going to be that many people actually going for level 50 and just going for level 50 now. Because last Gauntlet, not everyone, but a lot of people jumped in and were like, okay, I'm just going to get to level 50 and that's it. Ventura wrote even a guide to help people get to level 50. I don't think there's going to be that many people who are that sadistic who just want a microtransaction box who are going to try and get to level 50.
I mean, honestly, even if the prize for hitting level 50 was good, so this time it's a high chance of a mystery box. Last time it was 100% chance of a mystery box. This is not a good prize. But even if it was a good prize, you would still be better off saying, play Gauntlet if Gauntlet's going to be fun. If Gauntlet's not your idea of fun, then just walk away from it. I walked away from Atlas Invasion because I wasn't having fun in that event. I walked away at level 42 because the prize for getting that extra 8 levels was terrible. It was a mystery box. And, why would I do that to myself? I wasn't having fun. I wasn't enjoying the character I was playing. I'm not going to do that for a $3 prize. That's, strictly worse than $3. And that was a guaranteed one. This time it's not going to be guaranteed. You should play Gauntlet if Gauntlet's going to be fun. If you don't know if Gauntlet's going to be fun for you, you should try it. And if you know already that hardcore is just not your idea of fun, then you should just either watch day 2, which is the most interesting day to watch, or just sit it out. Plenty of other events that'll be fun. That'll be your idea of fun.
It could be anything. It could even be a $4 prize.
Yeah, you don't know what's in there, man.
It's a mystery box. Sorry.
They're a terrible prize, and it's not worth going out of your way for it. It's different if you are, if you're not sure if you're going to have fun in Gauntlet, then give it a try. But if you know you're not going to, then don't let a prize sucker you into playing it.
That's fair to say.
I remember people forcing themselves to play Endless Heist to level 50.
Ooh.
That was fun. I liked Endless Heist.
I was not there, dude. No, I was nowhere to be seen.
Doc, leave.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I managed to look up, and it's actually further behind than I thought. It was in version 3.7 that they changed that. And you were both right. Partially. Because elemental and chaos damage is treated as having dealt minus 25% damage for the sake of stuns. And the bonus is not to physical damage, the plus 25, but it's to melee damage only. Not even attacks, but just melee gets the plus 25. But yeah, so melee physical hits are way more likely to stun than non-melee elemental or chaos hits. So that means it's still really scary, but not as scary as we thought, because you still don't want monsters to come close enough to you.
Yeah.
What do
you ever?
What do you do when you're melee? I guess
I
suck, I guess, huh?
Do melee totems.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Have you tried not getting hit?
Long range.
Yeah, I've tried. Let's get hit.
It's there's a reason no one plays Reeve even in the normal game. Its damage isn't that bad, but it's just that you don't want to be that close to enemies all the time.
So we already did touch on this a little bit, but let us go. I think we covered most of the end game. I think is super scary, but for the acts, let's quickly go through Act 1 and 10. Thought experiment. Think of consider scary and the things that we consider not so scary, like the zones where we would like to farm. Act 1 starts off pretty rough with ROAS, or even before the ROAS. Do you think every class is going to be easily able to do Hillock? The haste?
He does less damage than he did in past gauntlets, so people will manage it. It's mechanically harder, but it's more forgiving than it was last gauntlet.
He does about the same damage.
Are you forgetting the 20% player resist reduction as well. So he did
You mean okay, yeah.
208% and shock in the past, whereas now he's doing 200% without shock.
Okay. You're not getting shocked by him.
Yeah.
But I just worry with... with Templar, it's going to be fine because Templar chills and freezes him. Probably not freezes him, but 100% increased unique monster life, but definitely chill with Glacial Hammer. But Scion is known for running out of mana and needing to use the standard attack. And Shadow doesn't slow with Viper Strike. I think they actually can get attacks in on every single swing. Does he swing too fast with 40% haste?
Shadow's fine, I think. Shadow's fine. Shadow has a lot of damage. And you can... You just do for the first half of the animation, then you move and you should be fine. I think Shadow's fine. I think the ones that are gonna be rough is like Scion, because you have to auto-attack him for a while.
What about Duelist?
Well, Duelist is gonna be easy, no problem. Duelist is really good at killing Hillock.
The animation's quick.
Yeah.
Alright.
You can almost just pick up more gear too. Like in worst case scenario, you can just farm a little bit more white gear in the area.
Feels so bad though.
It does, but you can do it.
The problem is
you
like
can
if
get
you
a lot of gear while farming an Onigoroshi that way, right? So
yep, just farm Oni and then you'll be fine.
I don't know that Onigoroshi is going to be doable in this.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I think I would have played Oni if I could practice Hillock first, but there's no way to practice Hillock, so I don't know for sure what the 40% haste will mean for Uber Hillock. So I'm not taking the risk. Otherwise, I think I would. This is the most Onigoroshi gauntlet I've seen. Like I would have loaded up so fast.
Yeah, imagine throwing away like 8 hours until you get.
Yeah, it's like, but I just don't know. I'm not gonna gamble like 8 hours, like you said, on maybe the Leap Slam is dodgeable or not. Like I don't even know that it might be too fast. Like before, I would usually like preemptively dodge it, but even then, it was like I think it was kind of close. So I'm not taking the risk this time.
yeah, I just know that I'd farm an Onigoroshi for like 12 hours and then just die in mudflats anyways. So
I mean, that's not for Diony.
watch me. Challenge accepted.
Giga challenge, just taking his Onis to the coast.
I mean,
There's going to be a bounty for Onigoroshi, though, I'm assuming. Somebody's going to make
sure.
one.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
And isn't there already a bounty that kind of implies Onigoroshi? That is easy to do with Oni? Remember something specifically.
There's the Montragle's Grasp. There's my one requires a tour of endgame. Montragle's Grasp, and then there was something else that was very new. When I looked.
So the Montegrel's
highest move
Grasp.
speed number, yeah, and then the Oni helps with that. Get the embrace with the 20% movement speed on top.
Yeah, you can only get that there, yeah, that's true. I don't know if there's another weapon maybe that gives you speed. There probably is.
There's the Screaming Eagle, right? The Jade Hatchet, but that's not more than Oni, right?
It's 20%, I think. Isn't it 10% per weapon? You can have 2 and that's 20.
Yeah, it's 10 and 10.
Yeah, so it's 20.
All right.
So I think there's also like this Warcry axe, I think. Is it Date Bell that gives move speed too when you Warcry or something? Like, is it with the helmet or the axe? I don't remember. There's something that gives
Date Bell is a helmet, but
what's the name of the axe?
I know which one you mean.
Yeah.
Is it Dirge? I'll just check.
Yeah, Deed Bell. I think it's either Deed Bell or Deed Bellow. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Warcry axe. The Deed Bellow is also the helmet
version that gives you attack, cast, move speed.
Yeah. So I thought about that one.
Yeah,
you mean
just the faded
Debeon's
version.
Dirge? That's what you mean. 50% increased movement speed if you used the Warcry recently.
Yeah, so,
that's only 15.
Yeah, but we're just Screaming Eagles easy.
Yeah, double eagles. They're also fairly easy to farm if you do low level.
Yeah.
So I just want to give a quick little shout out for the Montegrel's Grasp bounty. Basically, so Tryst the Effort made it. He's a buddy of mine. We screw with each other. If anybody's ever playing in like any sort of trade league, if you're ever giving somebody an item, you throw in a Montegrel's Grasp because it looks like a high five. It looks like a hand, right? So give somebody a crisp high five as you're giving them an item, that or a bitter dream. Naturally.
So
now he's putting money on this. For the memes, I guess. But I love it.
I like that you have to corrupt them, which is still a chance. Like, even if you're the first to get 2 Monties, then you have to corrupt them, and then you still run the risk of bricking at least.
Yeah. That's why it's even more of a crisp high five, right? Like it's just one of those special little ones, not just any old high five.
A crangled high five.
But yeah, let's continue going through the act. So mudflats. I think something that had not been mentioned is the skeletons in prison with the lightning arrow, because a lot of people like to run Flame Totem at that point. I even made the mistake myself of running Flame Totem even with phantasms. And you have so many extra targets, and the way that lightning arrow works with the hitting additional targets next to it, you get sort of shotgunned, like pseudo shotgunned from the secondary damage. And that's not the first time that I died, but I died in practice.
It'll do a lot less damage when you have a gold rim.
True. Yeah, if you get the lightning resist up, but still it's like an insane amount of overlap.
Yeah, some people think I might be joking partially on that, but I'm kind of not. Basically, for those people who want to actually have some success in Act 1 Gauntlet, for a lot of players, they're not going to bother doing this, but for a person who's not well-versed in Gauntlet, what you simply do is, once you get to a point where you're able to farm Tidal Island comfortably by like level 6, you basically just farm for Berserkers, and in Tidal Island, there's a very limited amount of uniques that can drop there, Tabby being one of them. So you can get a Tabula Rasa, Wanderlust, you can get Uraku Tiki, Gold Rim, Loctonial Caress, 1,000 Ribbons even. Like there's a lot of good uniques at that level, and farming that for a few hours possibly is going to pay dividends for people, especially like Wanderlust. 40% increased movement, cast, attack speed on everything. As long as you have 20% move speed, you might be doing a little bit better on getting out of the way of some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But also, you got to be careful when farming Berserker, because if you want to be able to get like 2 or 3 of them in, that arch nemesis mob is going to be scary.
Would you use a tabula if you find one?
Nah, not early.
Nope.
There's no point. You don't have the mana anyways, right?
Yeah.
You don't have the mana. I don't need the damage. So.
Yeah, don't get baited into that one.
True.
1,000 Ribbons better. Hands down.
Yeah.
Goldrum is amazing early as well. Yeah, so Goldrum's in tier 4 rarity, Tabula's tier 4, so these are 1 tier rarer than things like 1,000 Ribbons, but the difference between 4 and 5 is not that big. It's a factor of 2.
Yeah, honestly, if you're there for like an hour to an hour and a half, you can... Heck, I would even say just farm till you have like 3 gold rims or something, because you're going to lose a few of them on the way.
Yep.
Yeah, and don't forget while you're doing this, get Decoy Totem, which you can buy on a Marauder or Templar from memory after breaking some eggs. So after you get through Mudflats once, you're then through Mudflats every other time you want to be through it.
I did so far not actually use Nemesis farming at all, but probably should incorporate that into my practice runs. Able to gauge how much damage each does, but it's safe to say that you're 10 levels above or so that title or maybe not in Mudflats because Roas.
Some of them are brutal. Some of them are absolutely brutal. Flamestrider leaves damaging ground. I think it's Flamestrider and Incendiary causes everything that the monster does to ignite. Toxic causes everything the monster does to poison. All of these effects are going to get doubled. Evocationist does the Flamestrider thing as well as freezing you. Evocationist is one that people do a lot in softcore, but very early on if they want to farm up gear, but you don't want to do that in this.
Yeah. But yeah, all really good tips. Just make sure that you don't rush through Act 1. If it's necessary, spend 2 hours in Act 1. Just really over-prepare. I mean, it's probably the one act in the first half where I would spend the most time on. Just to set myself up for success, and then later acts are not that problematic. I mean, you should.
One disagreement with you there, though. You want to rush through the coast. The coast is going to be a wrecking ball.
I don't
The
even know
coast-
if. Yeah.
All of the fire ground that's doubled in damage is just going to be murderous. So you want to rush straight to Tidal Island, and you want to run Tidal Island carefully to get XP. Tidal Island's not going to be safe either, but it's the best of the first 3 zones after Hillock.
Yes. True.
Yeah.
I'm worried about even running to the coast with 40% speed. I think we're just gonna get run down a lot of times. I'm expecting to die maybe a couple times in just trying to run to the coast.
Possibly. I mean, one stun could be enough to completely throw it off.
Or wrong path.
Again, it's the thing where mobs don't hit you, and now they're going to hit you.
Yeah.
Just die. Just keep resetting the coast until you get the short layout, and then hope for the best.
Yep. I still don't know how to recognize that one, but I'm going to get on it.
Is there an easy way to recognize which one's the short one when you go in?
Off the top of my head, you have to take like 10 steps, and then you'll kind of recognize the layout. But it's the one where basically there's a short, like a pass through on like the right-hand side. So you can kind of either go a long way or you can go a short way, but you kind of recognize it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, I don't know if it's actually going to be worth it either way. Like,
I think it is. I think I think it's worth to resetting for short course, because long course is going to be death. I think for sure.
true. The amount of stuff that is going to be chasing you by the end of that.
Yeah. I even with the only 20 speed, you get run down. You sometimes run out of flasks. So yeah, with 40, you want the short coast.
You can pick off monsters and kill them too if you need to, but you got to be very careful doing that. Like once you start running, you're committed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you can slowly walk into it from the entrance and like try to get single like monsters or in packs of 2 or 3 and carefully freeze pulse them edge of the screen or whatever you're using. But once you start to get into the, definitely just want to run for it.
Once the pain train's rolling, it's rolling.
Yep.
And also, you don't really get a lot of XP in coast. So yeah, if you have to, you can farm it, but just running.
Also, while we're on the topic of Act 1, Mavail is a lot worse than usual.
Oh yeah.
Like Mavail has been the easiest boss of the acts for every past gauntlet, and that's not going to be the case here. That's because of 2 things. Firstly, she does almost all cold damage, and that's getting doubled. Secondly, there's the fire damage from the ads in phase 2. I think a lot of people are going to lose characters to those because they're going to go in there with 75 cold resist. They're going to be cruising through pretty smoothly through the first half of the fight. Phase 2 is going to start. They're going to be repositioning to get out of the cold DOT site vortexes, and when they're doing that, they're going to get blown up by an explodey squid through their 0% fire resist.
I mean, you can't really have fire res anyway. You can't really force fire res. It's better to be cold capped if possible.
Yeah, I think you might want it. I think you probably want 75 and 40 for this fight, which is a lot more than any past gauntlet.
That would be gold rim then. You'd have to be really lucky to get the fire res and a fire res.
I mean,
No, 2 rings and fire res benchcraft.
yeah, exactly.
Rakutiki also.
Oh yeah, I guess Rakutiki gives it, yeah.
But if you end up farming a lot of title or something, you'll probably also pick up a lot of rares and have a decent amount of transmutes and alterations, so you shouldn't be super stingy. Actually make use of benchcrafts wherever possible.
You can benchcraft that. Wait, no, you can, sorry. Yeah.
You can.
12,
It's
yeah.
level
it's
requirement
12.
12, right?
Yeah, 12, yeah, no. Yeah, Rebel, of course, yeah.
Also, keep in mind, like a lot of people don't realize, like people are going to get debated into like using Life Sprig as well. Once you hit level 8, craft a wand. Once you hit level 12, craft another wand.
14.
Put a suffix on
14.
it. Sorry, 14, yeah. Craft another wand, put a suffix on it. Because basically every 6 levels, right? So 8, 14, 20.
Yep.
If you're going to be playing a caster of any kind, yeah, use that prefix. Don't augment it. Put a suffix on it. Have those resists. You actually need to worry about that kind of stuff, which is why Gauntlet's fun. Right? A lot of the time you can just cruise to the axe, not giving a damn about anything that's going to hit you or mentally prepare yourself for any of those zones because it's just going to be you flying through it. But that's what the fun about Gauntlet is. It's really taking the time to actually improve your character while also not taking the time because you're trying to go fast.
Or do take the time because you're just competing against yourself and you're trying to do it for your own fun rather than trying to win.
Yeah, but myself, no, it's one of those things also where like, yeah, you want to go at your own pace. You're your worst enemy, right? So keep that in mind when trying to actually play it. But for a lot of the people who are going to be pushing, like hard pushing, there's a surprising amount of content to actually get through because this is going to be a farming gauntlet, I think. Personally, like I think this is actually going to take time to really farm up and do. And like what, 10 days? That's actually less time than we think it is because you will have death sprinkled in there. So,
I mean, even the previous gauntlets, if you look at the history of gauntlets, like very few people even finish. So even if you're actually trying to get results, like honestly, just not dying and just finishing is probably gonna net you the best results. It's really only for if you wanna like win rank 1 that you have to worry about this, but like going fast and stuff. And also this one in Wade, I don't think there's any going fast. It's just you gotta live and get it done. That's all. I don't think speed matters like right now.
Yeah, normally in previous gauntlets, the winner was always like done after like 3 or 4 days, right? How fast do you think this one is? I mean, it's not going to be completed, but
I mean, the previous one was like what 3 days finish, but like when there is death, then it's like 4 or 5 days. That's when Student out won, when people died, and then they just finished afterwards, like a day later or something, 2 days. But this time, I mean, at least personally, I think I'm aiming for day 6 or 7 finish. I think not earlier than this. I think trying to finish earlier is just suicide.
in Expedition Gauntlet, that's the one that I didn't pay like almost any attention to. I think Steel won that one, right?
Yeah.
On what day was that one?
8, I think.
I think it was like 7 or something.
it was late because
Okay.
Steel only won because other people died, right? Because Steel was doing the SST bleed glad,
Yeah.
something like
And I never got it twisted, so GG.
That's the one you didn't get twisted. Okay.
Yeah, well, one of the many times, yeah.
that.
Fair enough. So for me, last Gauntlet, like when I had my best performance, I barely played really until like day 7 is when I ripped. Like I ripped on the Thursday, and it ended on Sunday, I think, for me, or Monday. It ended on Monday morning, but I ripped on Thursday, and then just was like, okay, do I re-roll? Do I bother? There's only a limited amount of time, and within an hour, I'm re-rolling, right? And it was that time between the Thursday and the Monday that I actually started playing a fair bit. But even like Saturday night, that was Christmas time. Went out for a Christmas party. Friday had a Christmas thing to go to. So there was limited amount of time for me to play even in those days. And then Sunday was a really big push, like for almost like 17 hours, just pushed. But that's not going to happen with this one, I don't think. If you die on Thursday and you don't really have the gear to re-roll, well, if you're actually trying to complete the gauntlet, there's no way you're going to have that time, are you?
You're still gonna have like maps, Atlas, your Atlas like done and stuff. It's not gonna be that bad. I feel like I'm expecting to die. Honestly, like I think everybody's expecting to die like repeatedly. Like if you go into this gauntlet, like be like, oh, I hope I don't die. Then it's not gonna go well. I'm pretty sure you have to go in there, be like, yeah, I'm gonna die. Question is, I hope I don't die at a bad time.
Yeah.
Like for that dying right after you made your gear, stuff like this. Like this is the worst time to die. Right after you use all your currency or stuff like this. That's what you don't want to happen. But dying will happen, I think. I don't think there's any avoiding this.
I think on the character that you beat the Maven on, assuming you do, that'd be the worst point to die, would be soon after beating the Maven. So you're going to farm another Maven set, you've got to beat that fight again. It's going to be one of the hardest things in the gauntlet.
As Uber Elder too is pretty annoying. Dying after doing Uber Elder.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, you're already like pretty high up on the ladder if you manage to.
True.
Yeah.
I have a quick interjection question that I've already asked here and there to chat and stuff like that. But regarding the league mods, strong boxes scale with monster modifiers, right? Like when a box casts Ice Nova, it benefits from the 70% increased AoE.
Yes.
We all agree on that. But it also scales with the 100% increased damage, right?
That I don't know.
What
But
about the
I don't
40%
know.
cast speed?
don't know.
Is that gonna
Maybe
mean
not
that
about
we have like
taste.
no time to react? Like you open the strongbox and you're gonna have a significantly shorter delay until the Ice Nova hits you? Pretty
I don't
sure
think
that the damage will apply, but cast speed, I don't know how to what extent.
So from what I know, like the map mod increased damage, that is affected, or like the strongbox is affected by that. So I don't see why it wouldn't be affected by the increased damage as well. It's global.
I think you're right.
So Ice Nova is going to be terrifying.
Yeah, I was thinking that too when I'm at practice. I was like, I'm running around with half HP. The Ice Nova boxes are kind of scary. I didn't
Yeah,
like
don't forget also, if you just get the lucky one of plus level and Ice Nova.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That is a
Fun
softcore
times.
killer right there.
I've died to that in softcore a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah,
They're so big, just if you're not in an AoE map, just in a tier 16 map with plus level, the Ice Novas are so huge.
yeah. If the map has AoE as well, that's going to be 240% base AoE, which is what is that in radius? That's about 55% increased radius. That's going to be big.
I mean, it's not gonna kill though. Like you have spell suppression. If you spell suppression capped, it should not kill. Like if you have like reasonable HP in a reasonable HP pool that you're like, expected supposed to have at that the content you're doing, you should not die from it. It will hurt, but it should not kill you.
The problem is you're also frozen chilled or frozen potentially, and surrounded by monsters as well.
Yeah. Gotta be careful. Either way, every time I open a box, I just dash one screen away every time. I don't trust myself reading the box in time. Well, I mean, sometimes you're just gonna miss that one line that you need to see, like detonate corpses or Ice Nova. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you
I
don't
don't
want to
care.
rely
I
on
I just click.
on being good at reading it. You
Yeah,
wanna
I
make
just
sure.
click. Yeah, exactly. Don't take chances. Open the box, run away. Wait a couple seconds.
And I don't think in Gauntlet you can even listen for the audio cue for there being a trap inside the box. Like that doesn't really matter because it's going to go off almost instantly.
Yeah, it's not fast enough. That's my softcore strategy, is listen for the audio cue. That's a softcore strategy though, it's not a hardcore one.
I mean, I do it too personally, but like, yeah, I probably shouldn't. But yeah, I just do what cArn does. It's basically click the box, be away from the box right away as quick as you possibly can, because I'm not reading that. I mean, I stream every so often, right? I can't read. Everybody knows this. It's part of the contract you sign on Twitch. So,
Yep.
but for those who don't know, there is an audio cue, almost like gears turning, when you open up a strong box that has any sort of trap in it. I guess you could say, like Detonate Dead, Ice Nova, Firestorm, any of those.
Or Caustic Ground. There's six of them.
Firestorm usually tickles though. I think Firestorm is going to be noticeable with the increased damage and increased AoE. Better overlap between down.
I mean, 100% increased damage of 0 is still 0.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think it's going to hurt a bit, but it's not going to be a killer. A Caustic Ground's the one that goes from a nothing to dangerous, I think.
Basically, if you're ticklish, it won't be that much fun, right? That's what it is. It's just going to tickle you. There's nothing else from it. But again, you just don't want to be there because you didn't read the next line that says Detonate Dead. So,
Yeah.
Kind of stopped going through the acts after Act 1. Do we still quickly jump
that's where the
through?
gauntlet ends for me.
For most players, probably.
Down if you want me to go through my thoughts on each act real fast.
Act 2, let's just get this out of the way. Sparkers. Chamber Sin Sparkers.
Actually, there's worse in Act 2. Like Val ruins and caverns are insane.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
added
all
these new monsters there.
Yeah, they're insane. And the Chaos Speeders in
Chaos Spitters.
Riverways also. They're really bad.
So
Everything's bad in Exile, actually.
Chaos Spitters Val oversold itself for the 40% haste, making the lightning much more dangerous, and lightning's going to do a lot of damage now. And also the phenomenal presence on base, which is something from Act 2 onwards, grants them all capacity to poison and always poison, and poison's going to be really scary.
Oh yeah, there's like, I think it's in Riverways, there's like this, I don't know if it's the parasites or not the parasites. Is it the parasites? It's like either parasites or small snakes, I think.
Parasites are going to be in
that's-
Act 6, is it?
6
Yeah.
has the scary thing.
There's in Riverways there's like some snakes, I guess, some poison snakes. I'm not sure exactly. I just know they shoot poison. They shoot chaos. That's all I know. And they actually hurt and they poison you.
Those guys actually killed me last gauntlet randomly in Act 2. I just got into Riverways, I think, and the Chaos Spitters killed me in like 2 seconds. I was so shocked because
Oh yeah,
they were
Arakan
innocuous.
actually. Yeah. Sorry, we're talking about Act 2. My bad.
We can jump all over the place, but quickly, I want to know how scary is Weaver in comparison to you. I guess Weaver is considered one of the biggest hurdles in Gauntlet normally. This time, it's a little bit different. You have the numbers on that?
I think it's less dangerous than last time, but I'm not absolutely certain on that.
Are you basing that on the range attack or melee attacks too? Because melee attacks, I think now are kinda dangerous.
That's a good point.
Because when my last practice run, she was actually like her auto attacks actually hurt, and she was attacking fast. So like she's gonna attack like really fast. I think she might just auto people down this time.
Yeah,
even
I
if you
think
still mid range.
the approach that you want, if the Weaver is at the center of a clock, you want to be standing at 6 o'clock. You want to decoy totem at 12 o'clock, and you want to keep recasting the decoy totem when it dies. And that's you want to be in melee range. You want your decoy totem in melee range of her as well.
That's actually really. I mean, I haven't used the totem. That's what I'm worried about. Is because one of my main damage options in practice runs was Holy Flame Totem. The more I think about it, it's probably not wise to rely on that and decoy totem instead.
I think your decoy totem is going to die very, very quickly from the ads and Weaver, so it might not even be worth it personally. I think using Holy Flame Totem or using Ancestral Protector, I think those might be more worth it just because that 100% increased life on Weaver.
Well, actually, last Gauntlet, I died to Weaver because of my totem. I think I would not use totems on Weaver.
To charge up into the shot?
Yeah, she basically walked away from the totem and then targeted totem. So
you jumped into
the totem. Rude.
I mean,
if she.
Wait, what?
I was wondering whether you walked into the totem because.
No. I put the totem. I was melee range, put the totem melee range, and she walked away. And I followed her, but it doesn't matter because the AoE was so huge and it was GMP.
Yeah, true.
So I got shotgun.
You need to teleport move skill when she repositions.
Yep.
And
also, one thing we should touch on too, there's going to be like one beast that is just nope. Such nope. Anyone scared of any red beasts at the moment? Because you will be, I think.
I don't touch any red beasts in this. I'm just gonna ignore them.
Act 2, right?
Yeah.
So
the only one I'm
talking about now.
The only one I'm not ignoring is the wretch. That one I'm killing.
Okay.
For the boots.
Yeah, fair enough.
But every other one I'm just I run straight. I don't look back.
Yeah, spectral charge.
Yeah.
Increased move cast attack speed.
Yeah.
Have fun.
The crab too. The crab's really dangerous. I mean
I'm trying to remember. There is a goat man as well, right? Does he have Molten Shell?
The goat? Oh, you don't want to fight the goat, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he doesn't have Molten Shell, but he has a bunch of goats with him. So that's the worst part about him. One goat is fine, but like he has a bunch of. He's a melee goat too. Like he doesn't cast spells, but he has a bunch of goats with him who shoot fireballs. And the fireballs just two-shot you. Well, not two-shot you, like three-shot, I guess.
So basically, most red beasts are going to be scary at this point, I guess.
Yeah, I think you just ignore red beast and not wretch. The wretch, the one that for those who don't know, that the big bird that throws blood balls. Yeah. That one drops unique boost, so you want to kill that one.
Oh.
Yeah, luckily again, they don't get the increased monster life, right? Because they're not unique, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, Molten Shell early on also. We forgot about, like, Sebi was just saying also the climb, Act 1. Molten Shell off those goats is going to be terrifying too.
Yeah, you don't want to use Frostblink, for example. Frostblink is going to get you killed in there.
Agreed.
Well, Flame Dash as well, because Flame Dash hits. Doesn't hit as hard as Frostblink.
I'm not sure.
Well, you won't be level 10 by that point and getting Flame Dash right in the climb.
Yeah.
So
Flame Dash is after Brutus.
After Brutus.
Then Act 3? You already mentioned docks are going to be scary in Act.
That's my thought, and also both piety fights, because she's pure elemental and scales with projectiles.
Piety is horrible.
Dominus will be more dangerous than usual, but by not scaled as much as piety will be. But that's because of the lightning. Lightning barrage will be really dangerous. And you probably want to line of sight shenanigans Dominus for that reason.
Second phase Dominus is actually really bad. Because he applies CB stacks and his melees hit really hard. And they're going to be hard to avoid with that.
Yeah, I'll be decoy toteming him to get his auto attacks on the totem.
Portal scrolls are going to be very, very valuable.
Yeah, you always want to put down in advance, and if you're EU, good luck to you. I mean, if you're not NA, good luck to you.
Also, I like how whenever we've just chatted about something, we mention something that we find terrifying, and all of us just pause for a brief moment and are like contemplating our lives for a second, wondering like, why are we doing this? Why are we here?
Because failing is fun.
Failure is growth.
Trying to think what else is in Act 3. Well, actually, Gravicious is dangerous.
I just don't
for those who need to kill him.
Just
Firestorm's going to hurt.
Yeah, it already hurt. It's going to hurt even. Yeah.
Yeah, Gravicious hits like a freight train. Unless you're a shadow and you're into RP, like that infamous ERP thing that got posted in Global 1, that became a copy pasta years ago. I won't post it because it's not family friendly at all. Unless you're into that sort of thing, don't play with Gravicious.
Yeah. Wait, you said you have to do him, right? You have to do him for the reward.
It depends if you have to do it. If you have to do it, you have to be careful.
You can just skip him and come back later.
Yeah. I mean, for example, you can't wait. You want cremation from him, so.
You need cremation armor brand ASAP.
Yeah, next shadow. If you're playing Sabo, you kind of want seismic. You want not just seismic, all the CD traps. So you want to kill him.
Fair, yeah.
I'm
gonna add that on my list of things to be scared of.
I suppose if you're witch, you could get around using cremation by using fire trap.
Better to just kill him.
Yeah.
Can't fire as him, fight him. Just be careful, that's all.
Alright.
Yeah.
My list of things to be scared of in the Gauntlet is just like, it's one line. It's just the game. Or everything.
Sort of.
Every time I was thinking about what to look out for, I'm like, everything. Everything's gonna kill us in Gauntlet.
I specifically noticed before we went into this podcast, I ran a little bit of Bright Lake. It's just it's not good.
How'd you feel about tornado shot?
It just scales too well with projectile.
Yep. I just have a list of like bleed projectile zones. I just don't know for this. You have to do Aqueduct once. You have to do Dried Lake once. That's it.
I mean, Dry Lake, you kind of want to farm there for speed though. Like there's a couple places like docks you wanna farm there, over level and get some gear. Same for in Dried Lake. Like docks is okay. Docks is not that bad. Usually you have fire res. You kind of want fire res for crematorium anyway.
Yeah, I agree with docks, but Dried Lake, I found. I also said that, but like after having done it, I mean,
that's the only place you can't farm anywhere else.
Yeah, that's true. So. You don't really have an alternative.
Don't also, do obviously.
Yeah, like I don't normally at that point you have determination or you have grace, so you should be fine. Just make sure you get determination or grace. Well, speaking of which, if you have to choose between both, I would go with grace if you can run grace, because grace didn't lose any value in this. Doesn't lose any value in this gauntlet. Like it actually gains value because of the speed. There's more speed. There's 2 proj. Armor got worse because armor is like half as good as it was. So I would definitely choose grace over determination if you're like a shadow, for example.
I think I'd go determination and molten shell. Still, I just think determination is so strong. It's the best aura in the game for a reason.
It just lost a lot of value, and in some cases, like it's mostly for the classes that get the mastery, for example, that get the mastery for grace, but not for determination. Like shadow, for example, you can get grace reservation, then you can still use all your other auras.
Yep. Yeah, in that case.
But if you go determination, you have to cut so much stuff, and I don't think it's worth it.
Does it make sense to like drop all your Act 2 reservations to run dual determination grace? Not run a Herald or Arctic Arm or a Tempest Shield? Or
leave 0 mana.
I mean, unless you get the reservation stuff. If you start as a Template,
you probably have mana issues though.
Have to do the math. I think you'd have like 30% unreserved mana.
Mana is an issue. That's why I'm saying that you should go grace.
Yeah, I agree. Grace if you're in the situation of only having access to that one mastery.
Yeah, which is usually like Shadow doesn't have determination mastery. I don't know if I think Witch gets one. Oh, Witch doesn't get one. And Ranger does not get. Yeah, it's so it's like everybody gets. Yeah, Shadow gets grace.
And Defiance banner comes online in Act 4, right?
Defiance is Act 2, if you can buy it.
Yeah, Defiance is after. Is actually right after Chamber of Sins, isn't it?
So it's the same place as the Heralds, is it?
I'd have to look that up.
I'm just so used to not being able to buy it on most of the runs that I do. So, although I guess I'm likely going to do duelist personally, but that's we'll chat about the classes and whatnot later, I guess. But I do like also just again every single time we've mentioned something, there's always like it's almost like an infomercial. Like, but wait, there's more. Here's another bonus offer of this next zone you're going to join. It's going to kill you too.
Yep.
Oh, you've done Dominus. Congratulations. Fantastic job. Welcome to Blood Aqueducts. Like, oh, fuck.
Yep. You're bleeding. Now you're dead. Now go do Dominus again.
Speaking of Act 4, I think Act 4 is going to be one of the places where people are going to start dying the most.
Yeah.
Like, Act 4 is insanely rippy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's going to be insanely rippy.
Malachi is one of my least favorite fights in any of the gauntlets anyways. Now add on... His overlapping projectiles are just awful anyways. But, I mean, last one was worse, I guess, because of GMP. But...
Yeah, last was worse. GMP Malachi, it was a nightmare. GMP with Malachi, there's like a few bosses that are like absolute nightmares. Like Chevron was a complete nightmare.
Ron, yeah.
Like either of her versions. Malachi, there's a bunch like that.
I think Act 4 the Redry is so bad.
Yeah.
Decoy totem.
Yeah, you just stay at range with her no matter what you do. Whatever it is, you go ranged. If you're playing duelist, you just go back to like splitting steel when fighting Doedri, just something.
Yeah, there's two options. Yeah, you do either splitting steel or just totems. Depends if but both work.
So confirmed Defiance banner is level 16. You get it from the quest only as a duelist, but you can buy it from the vendor as duelist, Marauder, Templar, and Scion.
Okay.
Oh, Templar gets it. Okay.
Templar gets something? What?
Right?
That's insane, actually.
So the
Sorry,
thing
this is
I
a
think-
random tangent, but like Templar, it's like, okay, yeah, you can use mines or traps. By the way, you don't get to have access to any support gems for them, though, just so you know. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's odd. But like out of all of those, what I find the most odd is that Witch for Tidal Island gets lesser poison as a quest reward, but you can't buy it from the vendor afterwards. So all the other gems that you get for the quest reward, you can buy as a quest from the vendor. But if you didn't pick lesser poison, then or like chance to poison, it's called now, you don't have access to it at all. I think that's an oversight, though. I don't think that's intended, because you should be able to buy them all, like when they've been offered as a quest reward.
So what do people think of Barkul's arena? The actual Barkul fight with all of the trash in there. So this is the mini boss leading to Duresso in Act 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
I think
like
it's fine.
He has no HP, he dies fast.
exactly.
Dies so
It's not
fast.
Barkul, it's the trash.
Yeah, the trash, I mean, there's chicken, so, you know.
And by that point, like a lot of classes are using whatever their level 28 ability or like whatever level 28 skill gem they're using, or if you're playing duelist or something, you're using Spectral Helix probably. And either way, you're clearing pretty well on the screen, so trash won't really last, and he's got no HP anyway, so.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about him. It's more about the trash.
Yeah,
Because he's
Also,
very
before I die to it, so.
I think between trash not having any extra HP and people like really over leveling and over gearing, trash shouldn't be too problematic. I mean, unless you're doing like something that doesn't have great coverage, like true melee or something like that. But I can't imagine anyone going like true melee namelock skill.
What do you mean?
You're gonna play Bone Shatter,
That's what I'm playing right now.
and how does it go?
I mean, it's just blasting, no problem.
All right, cool. Looking forward to seeing you win the gauntlet with it.
We'll see. Hopefully.
Right. Anything that stands out as scary? I mean, we went through the acts and we almost mentioned every single thing. But like, if you think of the entirety of the second half of the game,
Abrath and Rizlatha, they definitely come back latest.
yeah,
Yeah.
Brian King's proximity shield. So not his usual scary moves, but the shield that he puts up around himself that deals damage when you're touching it. That was in my list of scary stuff. Arakali's Voltaxic Tantrum. Like, I don't know what the actual name of that is, but the thing where she picks a frontal cone in front of herself and stamps her feet and does all those laser beams that hit all of that cone for lots of damage.
the laser beams are rough because normally
She doesn't tap her feet when she does this. She positions like once. Like she turns into a direction and then does like, you're talking about the beams that just shoot it in front of her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that kills. Yeah, but she just like positions. Like you can just like when she taps her feet, like when she pulls balls like from the other side of the room, right?
Oh, okay.
That attack, she just like rotates to whatever direction she wants to aim, and then she stands there. She doesn't, and then she shoots. Like you can tell, like she just moves her feet once and puts them down, and then she starts shooting. So usually you just stay on our car. You just want to stay on like one side, like stay far left, and you wait for her to do something. And if she like pivots towards you, then you know she's gonna do that. You just go to the right side, and always stay melee, of course. Because if you go range, she wants you to.
yeah.
The tippy taps are going to be a lot faster this time.
Yeah.
For her to pull the balls. But everybody remembers last gauntlet when people were just randomly dying to Arakali because she was doing like some sort of AoE little belly flop type thing underneath her.
Yeah, she was doing the range attack that one shots you. Like that's the thing, the spit, like whatever spit that just
The purple projectile.
shot.
Was it a range one or was it a melee one?
It was
So I thought
range,
it was
but actually,
melee.
I mean, it's supposed to be ranged, but she was doing it melee. She
I
was
don't
doing
think
it
she has
randomly.
any melee attacks,
Okay.
right?
So that's what it was then.
Yeah, I
I-
think it was like some bug. Like it was weird.
That's what I was figuring, but that's what I'm worried about. So what I did last time was I just did not stand on top of her. Like I stood far enough away that, you can dodge the shots. Maybe this time might be harder because of the increased move cast attack speed, right? But I just did not stand on top of her because I saw too many people dying to her that way.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but don't the beams also have a slightly bigger hitbox because of the ink AoE or something like that? Because I remember if she does the beams to the bottom left side when she's in the top corner and she aims the beams to the left and you stand all the way in the right top corner, you still get hit. Like you need to stand a little bit away.
You can't be too close to her.
Exactly.
I think because that does happen to me. Yeah, if you stand too close, I think you get shotgun somehow or still get hit by the starting beams.
Because in a normal league without increased AoE, I'm 100% sure you could just stand in the corner and the beams don't hit you if it's the other corner. But
yeah, it's possible that AoE does this.
You'll just have to find that happy middle ground between being too close to her, being too far away from her. Just kind of stay in that little like arc almost.
Yeah.
And then for the Redry, just tap the valve thing all the time. And don't let the debuff stack up? Or is there any other strat?
I think do Cruel Lap before her and then just burst damage her down. So use Cruel Lap to get some extra damage. That's really unusual for my ordering. I would normally do Cruel Lab like late in Act 8 when I'm starting to feel bored with Act 8.
I do before Arakali.
Yeah, same. I do it before Arakali.
You guys are more hardcore experienced than I do.
But I mean
also, Lab is scary.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
More scary.
I was about to say the same thing. Like,
although he'll have less projectiles this time, right? So
yeah, but I don't know. I'm really scared of Zizaran in this.
The projectiles from the goddess don't have the GMP, but with the haste, it's still going to be really hard to get away as soon as you see the animation happening.
Because with Azaro, when you see him having a two-hander, it's like, oh, free Azaro, right? No. In Gauntlet, two-hander is actually pretty damn terrifying because that charge up that he has where he does the hammer overhead, like that's so quick as is. Now adding an extra 20%.
It's going to be so fast and that's the oh no.
Just
boop and you're dead.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's got the 31% increased radius, so 70% ink OA being 31% increased radius.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You know when somebody mentions a number that's so insurmountable that it loses all meaning? This is how I feel about everything.
But yeah, with things like the Azaro Slam, where there's an AoE in front of them, also Vol in Dried Lake, I'm always super worried that if I stand behind them, I'm still going to get hit by the AoE because it slightly goes beyond the middle of their character model.
Yeah, you get way behind on those. It's a teleport move skill job. That was my approach, even just doing the Monster Level 83 labs in softcore. Like, I'm just not taking any chances. I'm jumping way behind Azaro.
Yeah, with a lot of those ones, you're like, your windows of opportunity to do damage are in between some of those attacks. So you usually cut a corner of some kind to try and get more damage in. You can't do that anywhere near as much because, first off, the window of opportunity is so much smaller this time with the haste. On top of the AoE, you can't really cut that corner because you get hit by it anyways. So it's going to be interesting watching like a lot of these boss fights that we think, okay, this is our time to DPS. And as cArn said earlier, that window's so short that you're going to catch a lot of people get almost animation locked, even though their animation's probably super quick anyways. But they'll be in that animation getting hit by something.
Yep. It does make things like Righteous Fire have a bit more appeal, things that don't require player action investment to deal damage. Or even DOTs in general. Like, I'm not suggesting Soul Rend as a build, but something like Soul Rend where you just fire it and then it deals a little bit of damage while you actively dodge.
But also, Righteous Fire is really not advisable because of the haste now too. Because your whole idea is to kill something before it kills you. Righteous Fire ain't the quickest killer. So if you're standing by some stuff that's actually going to hit you and be in close melee range,
yeah, that makes me really not want to go Righteous Fire. I've heard some people here and they say, "Oh, RF Inquisitor looking good for this." Like, nah.
Nope.
I don't think so, because you're also giving up all the recovery from, not all of it, a big part of your recovery that you get from Inquisitor to sustain that Righteous Fire. But yeah, yeah. We already mentioned Depraved Trinity being bad and Shav leading up to it, but also what we didn't mention in the belly,
Bowels of the Beast.
Bowels of the Beast, the bleed mobs. Yeah.
In Act 4 and in Act 9.
Yeah.
This place is really that's why I would always run Sealskin.
Right, I didn't think about that. Steel skin gives bleed immunity.
I usually don't use Molten Shell in Axe anyway. You don't have enough armor. Like Steel skin stays better than Molten Shell for a while. You need to have determination, some armor gear before it becomes better. And the good thing with Steel skin, you can actually justify left clicking it. Like left click Molten Shell is pretty bad because it's like it has a longer cooldown than something like Steel skin. It's like more of a longer duration, longer cooldown type of thing. Where Steel skin has actually pretty low downtime if you just left click it, because there's very low cooldown. It's like it's extremely short cooldown. It's like short duration, it's short cooldown, so it's better like this.
Isn't it an option to put it on a button where you like
actively press it? Yeah. You can. The problem with that is that Steel skin, like I said, is like a very short duration, so you can't just preemptively press it like before. Maybe with 40% haste now, like you can't really not get value out of it, but. Like, if you want to just self-cast, and
I'm just worried I'm going to get a bleed right in the moment where it's on cooldown, right?
Yeah, but that, you just press your life flask, and then you have Assassins back off cooldown. It's really short. It's like, what, 1.5 second cooldown or something? I don't know, it's really short.
I'm going to check that cooldown.
The second I can get a slot for it, I'm doing that. Left click, Steel skin.
Yeah, I think it's really good. And if you can have increased duration on it, then it's like, you have really good uptime on it.
Cooldown is 3 full seconds from when it finishes casting. Oh, sorry, from when
Steel
it finishes.
skin, isn't that Molten Shell?
That's POEDB says 3 seconds is the default.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought. I thought they were all 3 seconds.
It's 1.5 seconds duration, but 3 seconds cooldown. But then the duration counts into the cooldown because the cooldown does not recover during the effect.
Yeah.
So when you use it from the point you start using it, it's 4.5 seconds until you get to use it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, you have half uptime on it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. Maybe just have it on left click most of the time, and then for situations where you really want to remove bleeds, then actively press it.
No, maybe. I never had any issue just doing left click, because you don't want to have to worry about it too much. This is like my biggest problem with self-casting, like I said, is the duration is so short.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes both ways. That would be my biggest problem also with automatically casting it, is that the duration is so short.
Yeah, I mean,
so you don't get control on when the uptime happens.
That's why I manually cast it if I'm using it.
Yeah, I think both have their unique advantages and disadvantages. But yeah, with Gauntlet, you have to stay alert all the time. You have to really like pay attention to the animations of the enemies, to your own positioning and all that stuff. So you want to kind of eliminate other things that could distract you from that. You want to be able to focus on the gameplay. Yeah, one thing I want to still mention real quick before I made a mistake last Gauntlet. Last Gauntlet was GMP, so it was a little bit worse than this one. But I thought that Desecrated Chambers in Act 10 was a good farming zone, like I normally think it is. I really like it normally, but in Desecrated Chambers, you get these ledges, right? And you have monsters in there that use Fireball. And Fireball can overlap on walls with the secondary AoE explosions. So if you stand in front of a ledge and you're planning to flame dash over it, and with the cast speed, they can throw those fireballs at a really high speed. And once they hit the ledge, they don't even have to hit your character directly, but you get hit by 3 explosions at the same time. You die faster than you can react. It's definitely a no-go zone. or at least a zone where you stay far away from the walls.
That boss has the boss of Desecrated Chambers will be a lot scarier than usual too.
Oh yeah, that's also super scary with the swipe.
100% 100% increased degen damage as well. Like it's just everything about Avarius reassembled is terrifying.
I mean, you only do Avarice when you're ready to come up anyway. It's like,
It don't do him in any of your Maven Witnesses, at least I feel.
oh yeah.
No.
He's a complete ban. I don't even do him on Slayer, and Slayer is probably the best equipped to deal with this.
Same with the Haunted Mansion boss. The zoning is just too strong.
Yeah, like these feast degens are just out of control.
And then forgetting the name of the map.
The Zone After Innocence.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say Crimson Township as well is another one of those types of bosses.
Yeah.
Leave that out.
Let me quickly try and switch the server because the delay is super hard for some of you. I think that's part of the reason we end up talking over each other, and I'm going to try and see whether I can switch the server because it says region automatic here. What do you think is good? If I go US West, would that be better? Possibly.
We're all
really far away, I know. But in my experience, US West works best as a center. Does it work?
No,
think so.
Does it?
I think it might be better. We'll see. But yeah, you kind of talked over each other there a little bit, and I wasn't sure what either one wants to say. Sirgog, please go first.
We're both actually calling out similar bosses. I was saying that the Haunted Mansion boss is also in Act 5. He's just walking around. He will just find you when you're pathing through.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's in the Zone After Innocence, and that guy will wreck you if you fight him. You do not want to fight him. And you were saying something about a different boss.
Oh, I was saying Crimson Township boss is another one of the ones that's just absolutely terrifying when it comes to degens before we add in the 100% increased damage. Adding in that increased damage, that's a note from me.
I mean, the thing with Crimson Township, at least like you can actually avoid everything he does. There's a clear. You can see his attacks. It's not. You can see the marks on the ground. You can just go behind him and it doesn't hit you. Like Avarius and all Haunted Mansion, they're just beams falling. You can't outrun them. They just zone you out. Like Crimson Township is not as bad. I would still stay away from him if you're not comfortable. You don't know him very well, but it's not as bad. You can play around it.
And with Crimson Township, it's the trash that spawn at the halfway point, like when the boss hits 50%. That are the thing that will kill you.
Yeah, you need them. If you have damage, then it's
like you
if
really
you don't have damage, yeah.
You need him to go from 50 to 0 within, I think, like 1.25 seconds. Otherwise, you just don't start the fight.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a weird environment where, like most bosses, you tend to drop all your big damage cooldowns. Like maybe you've got Vile Righteous Fire, maybe you've got cooldown traps like Seismic Trap. Normally, you would drop them when the boss is at 100%. Here, you want to save them till it's at 60, and then you go drop.
Is there any chance to avoid getting hit by the projectile from the stagnation boss?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the haste and stuff like that.
I don't know, 40% haste. I don't know. I mean, usually the thing with stagnation, if you just stick to him, it just does nothing. Like you just want to stay melee, just be in his face, and usually he just walks and does nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think he has like two animations that look very similar, where he raises his arm or something like that, and one of them is the one where he summons the boulder that he throws.
It's kind of distant. You can kind of tell. I wouldn't be able to describe exactly. I just know that when he's not doing the balls, I know he's not doing the balls.
Yeah, I think handwave would be a user portal, then come back in holding grace.
I can do that if you don't know.
Drop a portal.
So one thing I would do, like in this in particular is like all the repeat map bosses that you want to kill, you just, I don't know, whatever you're playing, you probably just blow all your Val skills, VMS, everything. You just blow everything, and then once it's out, you just log out and come back and do it again. Leave some monsters in the map for that. That's what I did, for example. In my practice for Forbidden Woods map boss. I just ran in there, a VMS, throw everything at it. It runs out, I log out, I go kill some monsters, come back with all cooldowns and do it again. Berserk, like whatever you have.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the good strat. Don't be afraid to log out and do it again. I mean, it's going to cost you some time, but it's not going to cost you as much as having to relevel the character.
Yeah.
Just don't do that versus bosses like Innocence, where you have hard capped phasic type stuff.
I mean, actually, that one is not too bad. Because during the phases, you can, let's say, for example, I mean, it depends on which builds, right? But I think even DD, normally you should be able to, let's say you play DD, I think you can get your souls back before he pops again, like during the ad phase. So you can pretty much just build DD every single phase. And it's same for like if you use the War Banner, for example, you can drop the War Banner, get Adrenaline like every single phase, and recharge it in the ad phase. But still, I would still skip the boss until you're strong.
For stuff that has like really short cooldown or requires small amount of souls or anything like that, yeah, the ad phase is nice for that. But he's one of the bosses I feel like is a skip until I feel super comfortable just to absolutely trash him.
Yeah, I agree. I tested it in my last practice run, and it's a skip. It's not,
Trying to think, is there any other? I mean, everything is going to be really scary.
Actually, there's one thing we haven't talked about in Acts, and it's Solaris and Lunaris. They're insane. I think this is actually the fight I'm most worried about in all the acts. Is Solaris and Lunaris. They're completely insane.
The danger level is definitely underrated because they're already with regular onslaught or like regular haste mods. They were already super fast last Gauntlet.
Yeah, they're crazy, and like the problem is like your option is farming Harbor Bridge, and Harbor Bridge is not even safe. So it's like it's a pretty tough spot at that point.
And Lunaris does have that degen as well.
It's like
for half a second.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of degen everywhere. That also scales with an MP. Like it covers more ground. And and Solaris just covering the whole room with the spears. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And the rocks one shot probably, like most characters with this. It's pretty bad.
So basically, like Catmaster brought us all here today to discuss like what we find is going to be scary or difficult, and he basically pointed to a dumpster fire and was like, "What's wrong with this? Where's the pitfalls here? How do we traverse this scenario?"
Well, I mean, it's still good to, even if we mention every single thing, the point that we bring it into context with the mods and which abilities are scary, it's very beneficial to have this conversation because there were a number of things that you guys mentioned that didn't come to my mind when I thought about the question beforehand. So.
Oh no, I love it also because like again, I work a job where I'm basically putting out fires most of the time, so this is my element.
Now you get to light some.
Speaking of fires, the Searing Exarch monsters with the altars and the drop burning ground, that's a no-go, right? You won't ever click that.
I was clicking that like the entire league. I had no idea it did damage.
What?
That's just Slayer things, right?
Laughs and Slayer.
True, but then how is it going to be in this Gauntlet? You still going to be confident to do it?
Is it monster damage? No, I don't even know. If it's you're talking about the burning.
I mean, it says monsters drop burning ground on death, right? The altar gives you the mod where it says monsters drop burning ground for 2 seconds on death or something like that.
Yeah, I guess it should be. Yeah, I would definitely. Yeah, I would definitely. I mean, you just run the Pantheon if you want to run Exile maps. It makes you immune to these.
True. There's the Pantheon. Yeah, there is a number of ways how you can make stuff easier on yourself. It was also mentioned in chat just a moment ago. one of my favorite Atlas passives is Packed with Energy, where the Nico Sulfide gives you a not insignificant buff.
Yeah.
So that's probably wise to keep your Nico Master missions for those scary maps. So you can turbo yourself up when you go into the boss, and then you can maneuver and cast really quickly and use those every tiny little opening in between the boss animations to get the damage in.
That's one thing also I noticed that we didn't have written down for as far as talking points. I feel like we should talk at some point about Atlas passives that are, utilized throughout the whole league, and then which ones to avoid during Gauntlet. I guess we touched on strong boxes briefly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
good point.
Yeah, true. I mean, we talked about the acts and the maps and the dangers and caveats in the different stages of the game. So I think this is a good point, and to quickly go into the Atlas passes. What do you think about shrines? Because that goes both ways, right? Like, shrines make the game easier to some way because you can blast through the maps with all the shrine buffs, but then also shrines are kind of scary.
Dark Leaves was what I say to shrines.
Dark Leaves.
I don't want shrines maps. The thing is, like, it's gonna help you most of the time, and all it takes is one divine shrine and you're dead.
Oh right, divine shrines.
I'll pass.
Yeah, and acceleration shrines are also super bad.
Like anything. Brutal shrine too. You can't get. Like, there's so many shrines that are gonna cause problems. Like, all it takes, like, let's say you have a speed shrine with and there's a benevolent aura in there. You're just dead.
Yep.
I feel like it's a legit 50-50 with shrines.
It's not even, I mean, it's a 50-50 every map, and then when you lose, you're gone. When you win, you just gain nothing.
Yeah, either you die or you live, 50-50.
Yeah, it's like, and when you leave, you gain nothing. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I really agree with the thing that anything that increases variance harms players in this context. And that is going to be the case with shrines. They increase variance. Most maps, they make it easier. But then that random one, they make it harder, and then boom.
Yeah.
I wouldn't roll over the Sextant mod for Gloom Shrine, though. That adds a lot of power to your character while you've got it. It's not that scary. And I think the same for Resonating Shrines. They're both at the safer end.
I have not thought about Sextants at all yet, to be honest.
I don't even think you're using Sextants.
I think I'll get
There's no point.
Yeah.
The ones that add extra monsters that make you take increased damage of a specific kind seem like they may.
Like, personally, at most I'll have one Watchstone at most, because I'm not killing Infinite Hunger until I'm ready to kill everything. But yeah. Then like I said, Sextants don't do anything for you.
Man.
So it's Black Star that I think is the scary one of the new bosses.
I don't know. The poop face and the invisible in the what was it? Never ending hunger, unending hunger. It's
Infinite pain, yes.
Scary. Infinite pain. No, because you can't move.
That boss is just, I'm just not gonna kill it until the end.
So those are the only bosses that I've fought so far. Basically, like, I didn't get to play at the beginning of the league, really. And so I fought Infinite Hunger and I fought Black Star, and I never want to fight the Infinite Hunger ever again.
Yeah.
He is like the worst boss I think they've ever made.
Yeah, he's a terrible design.
Every time I fight it, I'm just like, oh my god, what is this? Why is this in the game? Why is this fight in the game?
Black Star, though, oh my god, they did a brilliant job with that, and then they wrecked it by making it so squishy that, like, if you just do it on a normal character, like a middle of the range character these days, you have it dead in 15 seconds of constant DPS. You only get to see one or two of its abilities. That's assuming, a character that takes 45 seconds to kill Guardian of the Phoenix. And it's such a good boss, and it's just wasted like that.
Yeah, but with the Gauntlet mods, I mean, the mods do a pretty good job at making the bosses scary, even the new ones.
Yeah, Black Star is the best boss there, sure, I think.
Yeah. Black
Going back
Stars
to
are going to kill you in this. They're the scary part there because they're unpredictable.
Does the cast speed do anything for the ball phase and Searing Exile? Does cast speed make the balls go faster, or like make him spawn the ball waves faster?
From what I heard, no.
Okay, so it's basically the same, only it does more damage.
Yeah.
And you'll see
AoE
more
might
of them
impact
with the. Oh right, AoE.
contact range on them, maybe 31% larger radius.
likely if you get hit by 1, you're going to get hit by 2. And also you're going to have to deal with more phases just because of all that extra monster HP, right? So you're going to need a good chunk of damage to get through the X-Arch with it being an easy fight. Otherwise, like, it'll just spiral out of control. Like, the more phases he gets when he does the ball phase, that's just so dangerous.
Yeah, Frostwall is your friend there.
Yeah, I really
Wait, does
dislike.
Frostfall
Yeah, please.
eat?
Go.
Does Frostfall eat all the balls? Like all of them?
Yeah, they impact it.
Like,
Voice last.
Like how many balls does it eat? Just one or all of them?
Like the Frostwall might impact with 7 of the balls, and so those 7 are then gone.
What?
Yeah, you can completely shield one side of your character from the balls with it.
I mean, you can't. How can you ever fail this fight then with Frostfall?
So the increased AoE though, if you mess up at all in that frost wall.
Oh yeah, if you're too close, yeah.
Yep.
I was doing totems, but I don't know.
The
The
balls
slam is
also
going to
do.
huge to the arena.
What I wanted to say is the balls also do AoE damage when you destroy them, right? That's something that a lot of people are unaware of because they either dodge them all or destroy them when they're not in the range. But Deedle actually died because he was playing a minion build, and the minions killed the balls while he was standing in the AoE, and he died to the AoE explosion. Rip. So that's something to look out for.
Yeah, just work like the player skill Fireball, don't they?
Similarly, yeah. That's why it seemingly looked like a well-designed fight. Like, it looked like a fun phase, but then you add in extra things like minions, totems, frost wall, and suddenly this fight is just has its pitfalls, I guess.
Well, right. So people are saying in chat that the frost ball was fixed.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, because that it would have been kind of absurd.
Yeah, during the original race, that was my first thought. I'm like, wait, it can get impacted by totems or minions? Just use frost wall, you're fine. But I haven't really watched much since then.
I'm going to need a source for that. I'm going to look at the patch notes. But yeah, in terms of Atlas passive strats, is there anything else to look out for? You probably don't want to take any of the essence nodes, right?
Nah, I mean, you gotta get your gear somehow. You gotta get some gear somehow, you know.
But yeah, but definitely not the ones that add more essence to your monsters.
Yeah, not the +3.
Yeah, that one, no. Yeah, definitely not. I think you just take the starting one and the +1. The +1, the higher tier.
Yeah.
And that's
all.
What
about the doubling?
I mean, it depends what you play. If you're playing like something like Seismic or DD, you can probably just pump it up, right? But same with Harvest. I would not take Harvest unless I'm playing something really good at killing Harvest, like Seismic or DD. Yeah. Or even Helix. Helix is probably good enough also for this type of stuff. But yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, I feel that you kind of have to take Harvest or at least take Essences, just because that's where your gear crafting is really going to come from. So my thought is to play a build that is contingent on being able to get gear.
Yeah.
Right? So being able to do encounters like Harvest.
Yeah, one of the big selling points for me for Sabo or DD, for example, is you can do Harvest and it's easy, it's safe. There's no problem. You can do big essences, also no problem. Although I think essence is probably this is still fine.
Yeah, just be careful of greed. with essences. That's the main one that'll kill you.
We mean like the actual essence of greed, and as well about just greed in general.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, my comment was about essences of greed, but
Wasn't there also something about not being able to leech from them?
That's the remnant of corruption.
That's the remnant of corruption, right?
After spawned monsters. So remnant of corruption, when it dies, it spawns 2 zombies. They are immune to being leeched from.
So it's something to look out for if you're Slayer.
I think there's something else. Yeah, no, I think there's something else. So there's one of the. I don't know if it's the corruption one, but there's one that has an aura. An aura, I think, when you're near him, that disables recovery or something. I'm not sure exactly. I just know there's an essence that does that. Yeah, that disables your recovery. I don't know if it's leech. I don't think it's leech because when you walk away, you're leeching again. So I think it's just some aura that just disables recovery. So I guess I'm not sure.
It does that.
Yeah, that one you just can't leech off of him at all. It's a vampiric, right? That you're talking about?
There's vampiric, which is just for leech, and then there's one that's for all recovery. It might be recovery above 50% health.
Oh, I don't think I've ever made that one.
Yeah, it's a tier 2 or tier 3 one for the recovery.
There you go.
Above certain HP. Forgot its name though.
Yeah.
I think it's the Legion one though.
Executioner?
Might be it.
I don't think so. I think that one's fine. I think. Well, I may be wrong actually. Hold up.
Chat probably knows, but yeah, it's I'm just doing the 1,000 Arch Nemesis monsters, and then I'm done with the mechanic. 1,000 in monster level 83 zones for in-game grinds, then I'm done with it.
Oh,
yeah,
you're right.
Executioner. Prevents enemies recovering life and energy shield above 50%.
That's the one.
Shit. Oh no. I was making a bunch of these. I can't kill him. Well, I mean, it's probably fine.
Yeah, that one's nasty.
Malediction is also terrible, yeah.
Another thing to keep in mind is, as far as Atlas passives goes, there's one Abyss-themed one that causes Abyssal Depths to have +3 monster level. If you're looking for crafting bases, you might consider that essential.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But
also rippy, probably.
Well, it's a scoured zone, so like it'll be rippy in this, but it's like the Abyssal Depths are less dangerous than a lot of other zones are.
Yeah,
actually, this encounter leading up to it is rippy.
Yeah, but like map mods don't apply, so it's like a vanilla zone plus the league mods. You don't want to do any liches though if you get a unique boss in Abyss, right?
You'll probably find that they don't do much damage. The only one that's messed up is what's his name? The one that just covers the arena with
yeah, exactly. There's two. There's Amanamunumu or how it's called, Amanamu or something like that. And that's the one with the mines. And the Ulaman is actually kind of okay. Although he hits like a truck and with 100% increased damage, maybe kind of.
Yeah.
But he doesn't hit you frequently.
Unless you've got Chaos Resist. Amanamu is stay away unless you've got armor.
And bear in mind, if you do end up not getting a Lich in the Stygian, if you just want a Stygian Vice, that totem or whatever we're going to call it, it does also get LMP. So when it makes the holes to summon all the mobs, it'll get 3 instead of 1. So it is scary. It's not as scary as the GMP version, obviously, but it's still scary for some builds.
Giga XP.
True.
That's what I see.
Speaking of Giga XP, Harbingers, I feel like they're still fine.
Yeah, they're still fine. I mean, you need to do them. I think you need to have our hobbies for currency.
Yeah, you need that currency.
You've got to be immune to Burning Ground for Harbingers, I think, in this, with a double damage Burning Ground.
That's going to be a lot of pressure on the small Pantheon power, because I usually go sort of Ralikesh because I like taking less fizz damage over time while moving. But yeah, Burning Ground is probably the one that you want to go for. But before that, I would always get the Garokan for the reduced effect of shock, so I can stack that with other shock effect reduction to be almost or completely shock immune. But now I definitely need to get the shock immunity elsewhere, so that I free up the minor Pantheon power to get the Burning Ground. You're right, but you need to
Tempest Shield.
Is the Burning Ground on the base Pantheon power, or do you need to augment it first?
You need to augment it.
It's augmented.
Yeah, you need to kill Abrath.
The map Aberrath in...
you need to do summit. It's tier 15, so yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah, so you don't have it. You don't have it for 90% of the game, right? Or 80, 70.
Yeah. If you get to your Pantheon, you're already doing great. So might be a bit late.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah, Abrath's one of the worst bosses with this mod set.
Did we cover all the different league mechanics? So any other no-go? You probably don't want to get the Searing Exarch thing where you take increased damage per altar that you activated in the area. But
yeah, I think not.
And I normally already skip that one because I'm like, that's so much worse than the equivalent on the Searing on the Eater of Worlds side. Do you get the influenced pack size? Like normally that's widely considered one of the best things that you can get on the...
Yeah, but your goals are different in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not farming for... Like, you don't necessarily want... I mean, it's probably good for Eldritch currency, I guess, but... You know, I would... I don't think... I mean, it depends what's your plan exactly. Like, for example, personally, I don't think I can spare the points there. It's too many points.
You broke up then.
No, I said I don't think I can spare the points, personally, for example, for influence pack size.
Yeah.
Too many points, and it's like, you will get currency anyway. But I mean, you can, yeah.
I think like the synthesis wheel is compulsory in this if you're for the Cortex drop chance. The other node at the top, the Shaper Elder one, is compulsory. There's a bunch of things that are mandatory in this because of the demands to get various access to boss content. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on the nodes that amp up your maps.
Yeah, the map modifier scaling. That's scary. Although, I mean, I'm not going to roll my maps rare anyway, so... It's not that many mods on the maps.
I'm doing one mod match.
Let's talk about that also real quick, just because, well, if you want to get more Atlas passives, you got to do some corrupted maps. How do you feel about that?
It's like, Transmute Regal, Val, and Prey.
Yeah, I feel like Regals are going to be very value.
Yeah, like that's why I don't think you can skip Harvey. You do some Regals.
Transmute Regal, Annul, and Val.
Yeah, Regals are huge this time. Like even just for yellow maps, like you gotta cost so much currency to even get one that's good because you don't want anything on your map. I don't want anything. You have one thing that gives something to monsters. Like I just no. I don't want anything in there.
Yeah, and we seem to have I mean, from what I've seen this league, there is no issue when it comes to map drops. Like sustain is perfectly fine. And that was the usual worry before, right? You just infinitely stuck in like yellow maps because you can't sustain red maps in Gauntlet because you can't run high enough mods that have big enough pack size and high enough quantity. And so I guess that's pretty well mitigated with the new Atlas passives.
We're going to have 0 Void Stones a lot longer than you'd have in a normal league. And Void Stones are a huge amount of upgraded map tier at the moment.
I mean, you can just pick it on the tree.
Yeah. You don't need to do that.
It just saves you some points, but realistically, you're not going to have a Void Stone until some time. But
Yeah,
it's
you're already at
preferably
the
not.
end there. You're in the home stretch at that point almost. Oh, I guess there is no real home stretch because everything's going to kill you. But you know what I mean? Like you're this is the final tail end of the gauntlet when you're actually going to have those void stones.
Yeah.
All right, should we quickly go into the class build discussion? Because that's something
Sure.
that we completely
We haven't got to yet.
danced around, yeah. Didn't naturally transition into that. Unlike with the other things where we just talked about the mods and we automatically mentioned like what things are scary in which act and stuff. But what do the mods mean for build choice? Like what boxes do you have to tick for a good gauntlet build?
Everything.
Good point.
Yep.
That's the problem. Like, the fact that it's 100% increased damage means you need everything. You need defense against hits, you need avoidance, you need defense against damage, you need recovery. Damage over time will be a problem. You need damage because bosses have double HP. You need everything.
Right.
It's tickle boxes, and there's very few builds that can tickle boxes like this. That's why, like, I've been in as soon as the announcement was made, I spent 36 hours. I still had no idea what I was gonna play, and even now, I still don't know what I'm gonna play. So it's rough.
If you had,
I'm going to play standard.
It's safe there, man. It's nice.
Yeah, just go for a visit there every so often, right? Like I'll be enjoying Gauntlet, and then suddenly vacation in standard real quick. Feels good. Come on back. Just enough time for me to forget about the pain that I was just in from Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the moment you go back into Gauntlet, the pain is going to intensify because you're back at that ungrateful start. You have to
Just
work
need another
yourself.
vacation soon.
But I know, seriously, like you would need like some way to mitigate physical damage, some way to mitigate degens, because these are two things that you didn't have to worry too much about with older mods. Also spells, because they all get double damage now.
Yeah.
Like not having spell suppression is not an option now. Like it was already it was already rough. Like last Gauntlet, for example, I died repeatedly because I was playing a build that could not get spell suppression early on, and I just kept dying to spells. And now, like, everybody's gonna be in the same boat.
Yeah.
Because like, even if you spell suppression cap now in this Gauntlet, it's gonna be the same thing. You gotta take the same damage like I was taking, for example, last Gauntlet, where I was just dying.
Well, you'll be taking
That's-
that commensurate with the core game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a little bit less than you'd have in the core game. No suppression.
Now, basically, against spells, you're basically gonna be playing. If you spell suppression cap, you're basically playing a character in base game that has no spell suppression.
Mm. Yeah, I reckon players over 85, a lot of them will be using Atsuri's Step for that reason, for spell suppression.
You need to kill Azir for that.
Yeah, you needed to down Atziri, and she's terrifying.
And do it a bunch of times too, because it's not common.
It's like 1 in 12 chance to drop. So
yeah, so I don't think people are gonna be using this.
I'm killing her 12 times.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a lot better to this.
If you're going
also
for points,
why
you have to kill her once, right? So.
Oh, sorry, go for it, Catmaster?
Yeah, no, the delay is terrible. But I was just going to say that you do have to kill her once if you're going for points at least, right? So maybe you get lucky and just drop it. I mean, 1 out of 12 is not that bad, but most people won't have it. But what do you want to say, Tryxt?
I was just going to say, like, that's also why when we were talking about RF and builds like that, basically they're almost precluded from the Gauntlet, in my opinion, just because you don't get spell suppression on those builds. Yeah, sure, you get a bunch of extra resists like max res, but spell suppression is going to be necessary. I think you're going to need like determination, grace, spell suppression at the minimum on every single character, pretty much.
Chill if you can also is one big thing that you would need on your build.
Yeah, anything that slows them down slightly from that 40%.
Yeah.
Does anyone know how that 40% stacks like with chill? So if a monster has 40% action speed from the event and a 10% chill on them, Are they moving at 126% of base, so multiplicative stacking,
Yes.
or 130% from additive? It's multiplicative, right?
I think it's 126.
And your chills are going to be a lot more than 10%.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. You go from 140 to 26, and if you have chill, then it basically it's like a slightly faster than if you're just playing with old speed but no skill, no chill.
Mm.
So yeah, it's pretty strong.
Yeah, and you can get 30% chill for trash monsters pretty easily. As long as you hit them once.
Yeah, so if you're running skitter bots, there's also the in any of the elemental wheels, the mastery that gives you increased effect of non-damaging ailments.
That's amazing.
I don't think that works with skitterbots. I tested it.
So I was just
that's
going to
not
ask.
your ailment.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Sure,
So that's what I was just going to say. Like, so that doesn't work for there.
Yeah.
So if you're chilling with anything, like say Necromancer, it works for Necro,
Yep.
the corpse chill, but skitterbots doesn't get affected by that. So just bear that in mind. Like a lot of people are going to want to run skitterbots, but it's good. Obviously, it's good, but it's not the best chill that you can get. Obviously,
You do have the ability to put unbound ailments on it, but that does raise the reservation.
Yeah.
it's necessary. I think if you're playing Sabo for this gauntlet, at least.
Yeah, unbound gives you more damage as well. It's worthwhile.
That's when Necro's so good too. You get base chill, you can scale, and I think you can very, very easily get at least like 18% chill on Necro. I think you get, I'm pretty sure you get like base 18% chill on Necro, with just like the effect on the tree only, without even any gear. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, increased effective non-damaging ailments is secretly one of the best stats in the game at the moment. Or effect being the other one that's like not at all apparent to a new player, but these are the two of the best stats in the game.
All right, with that established, quickly let's go through the 7 classes. The best choice for which probably is DD Necro, or is there anything that I'm missing? It's the most well-rounded build.
Yeah, it's definitely the best choice.
Mm.
I honestly don't think the DPS is going to be that great on it still. I think it's going to struggle with damage this time, but for which it's probably the best.
Yeah. Yeah, honorable mention to some cold damage occultist, but that is an honorable mention. It is not a close second. Just something that can have some impressive chills.
Yeah, the chills make it good, but I don't think you're gonna get to the point where you benefit from that. Because Occultist has like almost nothing in terms of defenses. Sure, you get the 10% reduced damage on chilled enemies and the 10% reduced damage from Malediction. That's quite good, but you need to get to that point first. You need to do Cruel or even Merciless Lab to get both of those. Probably no, you need Merciless Lab at the very least.
Mm.
And then you're not getting Profane Bloom, which you may want. That helps a lot with clear early on, and applying curses to hexproof enemies is also great. No, I definitely thought about Occultist because I've tried to pull it off in previous gauntlets, but this is definitely not the gauntlet to play Occultist.
Yeah, it's miles behind Necro. Necro's the best.
And then are there any shadow builds that are viable besides Trappers for this? Is there a reason to play Assassin or Trickster at all over Saboteur?
I guess Trickster has something against Degens. That's not, against dots.
True.
There isn't much of a reason to play Trickster or Assassin anyways, let alone in Gauntlet at this point.
Assassin has its strengths at the moment.
Oh, they do for sure, but in hardcore, it's just worth it.
Just play Sabo. If you're playing Shadow, just play Sabo.
Yeah.
And Sabo's still a great contender, right? It's got decent defenses. It's got actual recovery. Like that's not bad.
Yeah, it's the thing. That's the thing. Like, it's not bad, but it's not even enough. That's the thing. Like, the pressure on characters to have enough recovery is pretty big this time.
For sure. But you're also near Leith Shade. Yay!
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the one thing they have. Oh, there's you ignite immune and you have lead shade and some recovery. So yeah, you do
So
have
do
tools. You have
Shock
something.
immune as well, right?
Yeah.
So
Pyromaniac shock.
that also frees up that Pantheon.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
comfy.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about Trickster, though, like Trickster is in a bad place generally, but if someone's goal is just to hit level 90 and not to do any heavy bossing, Trickster's a reasonable choice for that, just by and staying in low tier maps and low tier and easily rolled maps, just because of its damage projection with the traditional chaos damage builds, chaos dot builds.
I mean, you still got to get to maps by playing that kind of build, though, which I feel is going to be a little difficult in the Axe, personally. But
yeah, you'll have hard times with the bosses in the Axe.
Yeah, I feel like the only reason to play Trickster would be just you want to play Trickster. I don't think there's a reason to play it besides just wanting to play it for the sake of it.
Amazing life recovery when you're mapping. It's a
No,
bad.
I guess you do. Well,
But-
yeah.
But you need to get into maps first.
Yeah, you need to
And
get to maps.
GBCI too. So
Yeah, you kind of do need to do that. Yeah, with the disparity between the Ascendancy classes and some of the base classes, I'd really like an Ascendancy class-based gauntlet like the one that was done in the past. But that just splits up the price pool way too much. It's like everything's like tiny, and honestly, I also like it like this because it puts some pressure on GGG to make the classes more equal. To in a future patch maybe address some of that. Because like you said, like even in a regular league, even outside of Gauntlet, like don't really want to play Trickster or Assassin over Saboteur, at least not for hardcore. Or yeah, softcore, there's good reasons to play Assassin, of course, but
Didn't Jung Rowan have a really good, successful, deathless run to Feared on Assassin? Like, he was playing in softcore, but I thought he did an
Poison
SSF.
Helix.
Poison Helix, 16 hours from fresh start to completing the Feared. Was that? I think it was something like that with Poison Helix, and that was deathless, I think.
don't know.
Yeah,
I know he played it, but I haven't really looked.
I know he played it for the boss race in hardcore SSF early on, but then he died to something, and I actually didn't know.
Yeah, he died to something else, I think. Or he was toying with the idea of playing it, then he went ally damage Helix instead. Anyways, I'm not
Jung?
Yeah.
Or sorry, who is this?
Jung Rowan.
Jung? Okay.
I thought you were actually asking who is Jung Rowan.
Oh, no.
Who?
Who's this guy?
Yeah, who's this guy? This guy Hood, not even here.
He didn't play DD Necro at all last time. I actually was going to name my character Debated by Jung originally as a joke, but 'cause I knew it would be good. But I was hoping other people wouldn't think it would be good.
Going further clockwise around the passive tree or the start positions for the classes, for Ranger, what are the top builds? I think Pathfinder is really good, but then
I think Pathfinder is dead.
dead.
Yeah.
I think Quantric's going to start on day 5, as he was saying, because he's got commitments beforehand. He's just going to play Pathfinder and do the same thing he did last time and just win it in that 5 days because nobody else is really going to be able to push and play on it.
And the problem with Pathfinder, you need the flasks rolled. You can't do that early. Like
True.
the whole gimmick doesn't work until you're actually kind of deep. You'd have to like stay farm these, and I don't even know where.
Yeah, that's a good
I don't
point.
even know where you
actually.
farm these.
But
And like surviving until then is like, I don't know, man.
but if you were forced to win Ranger, so which one would you pick? Would you pick Deadeye over Pathfinder, or would you pick Raider?
Oh my god.
Because I understand would you say Pathfinder is dead because, you know, if you see it in the context of the Gauntlet versus everything else, but if within Ranger, like what's the best one?
I think they're all dead, but I guess Did I Helix or something? I think it's still. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Is there another build?
Yeah, I'd probably stay away from Deadeye just because it's so squishy.
Yeah.
It's a great softcore.
At least
Raider
with a Raider,
is-
you'll have the same speed as the mobs.
I mean, Ranger. Deadeye's fast too, dude.
True.
Yeah, all of them are fast.
Fast to the beach.
I mean,
Fast to standard.
Yep.
Raider does have its 40% spell suppression from memory. I think it's 40%. And that makes a lot less pressure on your gear.
Yeah, and halfway to ailment immunity, and you can get the onslaught effect, and you have permanent phasing.
What's the goal? Is it the Ranger? What's the goal? 90, 50? What's the goal?
Highest score of Monk Rages.
Yeah.
So
To win the class.
If you have to win the class, yeah.
So get to maps.
Yeah, oh man, this is a rough one. This is like that reminds me of the Templar talk from last time, dude. It's like
I'd go Raider for familiarity, but I'm not sure that that's the right decision. It'd be the right decision for me.
I think Raider is, like, throughout the entire game, probably the one that is most workable. But in the end, it would be surpassed by Pathfinder, but you would never get there with Pathfinder.
yeah, Raider maybe. I could see. I don't know. It's hard for me to pick anything because everything looks really bad.
All right.
Everything looks dead.
So it's going to be interesting to see how far the winning Ranger goes.
Yeah.
That they managed to get down.
Ranger ladder is going to be spicy.
And if you want something spicy that I think might actually be worth thinking about here, Deadeye Fizz Trapper has the, like, Exsanguinate's incredible when it already chains. So, like, that's off meta, but I do think it's something that might be a contender. I have to look a bit more into it. I haven't thought more than just the basics, but your Exsanguinate's going to do a lot more damage than it will anywhere else because you're not investing chain support.
You will be lacking on the AoE component, though, won't you? So overlapping your seismic isn't as big of an issue now.
Yeah, it's going to be meaningfully worse than the Saboteur, but it might still be good enough to be one of the better options for a Ranger.
I think the problem with extended grenades is like where'd you get the recovery from?
True, you'd need to solve that.
Yeah, that's
Push life flask,
sounds rough.
rage.
Yep. Yeah, push your life flasks. Yeah, it's kind of rough.
All right.
Done that leveling.
And then for Duelist, how far is the gap between Duelist and the other classes, between Slayer and Champion?
So, I mean, here's how it goes with Duelist. There's a bunch of people who've been sharing the same tank of Copium who think they can play EA Totems or Champ in general and survive. But I don't know about this. I feel like Degen is going to be way too big of an issue.
I think Zizaran is
something like
planning to do EA Ballista.
Yeah. I mean, I let him know that he was high on Copium, but you know. We'll see. I don't believe in. I think on paper, like if you can get to the even the problems, like even if you get to the bosses, you're gonna have a really hard time. Like you're gonna get clipped by Shaper Beam. You're gonna evaporate. It's gonna be pretty bad. And if you don't play EA, there's multiple builds for Duelist, right? You can play EA Totem Champ. You can play. Well, you can try to play like Omniscience, Lightning Strike or Helix. But that's another level of cope, right? You need Omniscience, you need the Perseverance, you need a lot of stuff. Probably want melding too, so that's probably not happening. You're probably not getting there alive.
I really don't like Helix for the Gauntlet.
It doesn't have to be Helix, so just early on, you can play Lightning Strike kind of early, I think, but it's probably worse than Helix early on, at least. Now you can play Impale Helix too, but I don't think that's good either, especially now. And Glad, Glad doesn't exist. Let's forget about it. And Slayer can play Helix. Can play. If you want to play 90, I think Slayer Bone Shadow is actually the best to do that. If you wanna get level 90, for example, I think it has the best defenses. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it has the best defenses. I think for this gauntlet. You have Fortify, you have Slayer Leech, Endurance Charges. Really good recovery, obviously, because Slayer Leech.
How
So
reliably
it's
can
pretty
you
good.
get Fortify with unique
Yeah,
monsters
it's not a
having
problem.
100% increased life?
It doesn't
You
matter.
won't
You still get it. Yeah, even if you you can also just spec into Rampart on the tree. That basically counteracts the 100% unique life.
Fair enough.
But yeah, and I'm not gonna go into the bossing because I might be doing that. So
Yeah, I don't have to be too specific.
yeah, but I think champ is obviously like EA Totem champ, maybe some Helix champ in elemental, like Nightbed Helix champ or something into Lightning Strike, or again Impel Helix Slayer, Bone Shadow Slayer. I think things you could play.
Gladiator is out of the question.
Yeah, Gladiator is just no, just no.
Does anybody know if Son of Sevenless is going to play SST again?
Oh my god. I think he can't play this gauntlet.
Ah, darn. That's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame. But I don't think he would have played Glad.
Maybe Steel Mage will bite the bullet for him.
I'm really curious to see if he would have played Glad, but I don't think so. I think even he's not coping that hard.
See, I think that Champion has the best defenses in the game against hits, but doesn't have the defense against dots. Whereas Slayer has the best defenses in the game against dots and has much less against hits. But Champion,
it's not even. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I still think that Champion has so much armor, so much evasion, that you may actually feel very, very, very tanky with a Champion. You don't have anything related to spells, so you need to solve that through spell suppression. I don't think that's insurmountable, and so I think that champions of some description might work. Whether that can be done on EA totems, I don't think so. I think you want a shield.
Yeah, I was about to say, problems like champ early will have a hard time getting spell suppression, especially if you're not using a shield. Like if you're using a shield, it's fine, because you have the shield.
Mm.
But yeah, it's like you said, like hit mitigation is good. Like you have a good max hit, you have Fortify, you have a lot of armor, so you're okay. But then you just die. Like it's like absolutely no recovery whatsoever. And I think the only build I would have recovery would be some claw build, like claw helix, claw whatever, because you have life gain on hit. But even then, that only works for when you have pack size.
Yeah, it's better
And
against
yeah, and like EA just has nothing. It's pretty bad. Not even leech. Like if you're playing like claw or even just impel, or at least you have some leech. Like you'll have nothing with EA. So that's what I'm worried about, at least for EA champ. Might die to a bleed, CB, some chaos dot, like Tora might evaporate you. Like, there's so many things that can happen. And when you're bossing, there's so many degens, like Shaper Beam, Shaper degens, Elder degens, Cortex degen. There's so much stuff. It's really rough, I think.
I mean, flat life regen rolls on gear have recently been improved. You can manage to sacrifice some suffixes for 100+ life regen.
Yeah, but we're not in the place where 800 regen will cut it. Like this is not gonna cut it. This will do nothing.
Throw in vitality.
Yeah, this is you need like actual strong recovery now. Like even Sabo has like 10%, right? And it still felt like you don't have anything.
Sabo doesn't feel like much, but 10% is like 800 is more than 10%. You got 800 flat. That's more than.
Yeah, but I mean, you also get some passive, like with like gear. Maybe some moves on the tree also give you regen. This is just the ascendancy, right? So
I know this is like way far in advance. This is getting to Uber Elder, but could you imagine if you let one of the tentacle things poop and you had to walk through that constantly with like, that degen will just oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can have Lead Shade, which helps, but in some builds.
Yeah, but those degens are going to be insane.
Yeah, they are.
But I do think Champ is obviously a contender. I mean, you still have to basically avoid the degens as best you possibly can, or somehow survive through them. I don't know how that's going to be possible in any regard. But Champ is definitely a contender. I do think Slayer is not a meme. I don't think it's a joke at all right now, and I think people are going to meme on you for it. But
I mean,
Slayer
they always meme.
they
People
always
just memed on me. Yeah, they always do, even when I kill the feud. So like, what can you do?
yeah, but that's because you were playing Slayer. But anyways, no, like it legitimately has a fantastic set for this type of gauntlet, especially.
Yeah, there's like two sentences that I think are really at the best at surviving this one, and one of them is Slayer.
Yeah.
What do you think's the other?
Chieftain.
I think so too, but Chieftain I think is just so. I guess we're moving on to Marauder. Anyways, we're going that way.
Yeah.
But Chieftain it doesn't have the cast attack move speed. It gives you nothing as far as speed goes. It's going to feel super lethargic, I think, and get hit by a lot of stuff randomly. Sure, it's got tons of regen, and I think it on paper looks like it would be nice. With DD not being an option really so much for it anymore, I don't think it's going to do very well. I think it's just going to be so slow.
I think it is.
I could be wrong.
I think this is still fine.
You think it's still fine on Chieftain?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's just that it's probably still the best option.
Yeah, it's probably the best option, but I don't know if it's as good of an option. Now it's obviously not as good of an option as it was last Gauntlet. And I think the mods being so much greater than last Gauntlet, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be rough. Like, it's not gonna be easy for anybody. Like, no one's walking into this Gauntlet and be like, all right, let's play some Gauntlet. I'm gonna have a great time. I'm gonna stroll, just chill, go through lives, get through maps. Yeah, like day 3 we're completing. It's none of that. Everybody's gonna be struggling. Because I was thinking, like, when I was trying to think like what to play, I was like, okay, like, just everything looks like it's dead to me. Everything looks super dead. Everything looks super dead. The only things that actually tick all the boxes are Chieftain and Slayer. You have good phase mitigation. You have good hit mitigation. Good phase mitigation. You have recovery. You have which is exactly what we're talking about, right? Like Chieftain has what? Endurance charges, phase taken as fire, which is kind of pretty huge.
Yeah, endurance charges are so good.
You're gonna obviously like get some max res until you get suppression. You can get suppression. You're gonna be using a shield, right? Most likely, so you'll get suppression. It's the same for Slayer. Slayer actually gets suppression on the tree, so you can get it relatively early, and has a lot of recovery. Good damage mitigation, physical mitigation. They are the only ones that I feel like tick all the boxes. Then there's also the damage problem, right? Like, if you want to actually kill the bosses, you need some damage, especially when they have double HP. And that's the one concern, I guess. But when it comes to surviving, these two tick all the boxes.
Any shot for Berserker?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Is Quantric around to field that one?
Quantric is not looking at Berserker. That's what I'm going to say.
No, he's not.
I don't think Claw is enough recovery for Berserker. I can't think of anything else that'll work with.
No.
With what?
Look, I don't think a Claw attack is enough recovery for a Berserker, and I think you're just going to die.
No, you're just going to die. I mean, yeah, you're just going to die.
You can't also... With life gain on hit from a claw, while it's really nice when it works, it's just not reliable enough because sometimes you just get hit by a degen while you're not hitting something, and then what are you going to do?
Yeah, this is life gain on hit is just
supplementary, I guess.
Yeah, it's just nice for when you have extra pack size, but that's it. Like when you're even fighting bosses, life gain on hit it does something. This is not the type of recovery you need. You need like at least shift into your recovery, I think, to feel comfortable and not get deleted instantly by a strong degens or zoned out too much.
And I guess Jug is just ZDPS.
Champion, but worse. in every way.
Yeah, it's like the problem with Jug is like it ticks all the boxes kind of too. It's basically the same as Chieftain, but it has no build. And actually, it's just worse than Chieftain. It's just worse than Chieftain, and has no build. Really, like, the problem with Jug, it doesn't. It's supposed to be this tanky ascendancy, right? That was the design, but it's not even tanky.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything against Elemental, and it's not really good against Degens.
It does have something against Elemental, but I mean, honestly, Jug for this is. Yeah, it's something, you know. Jug doesn't even look that bad, honestly. Defensively, for this, Jug doesn't even look that bad. You have good phase mitigation. You actually have some chaos res that helps. Like chaos res, like chaos damage is going to be a big issue, and you get 28 chaos res like for free on Jug.
You have
pretty nice.
Chaos resistance conditional upon you being upon it not being the first action you've taken in a map. But you're just going to fall over dead if the first thing you encounter in the map is that Exile with its chaos damage with the Essence Drain. That's just going to kill you because your chaos resist is going to be down for that. Additionally, Jug is just less tanky than Champion and less damage than Champion.
Yeah, it is just bad, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Marauder goes,
yeah.
Yeah, Chieftain seems like the only real viable option.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a good one, though. Like, I think Chieftain is a really good choice.
Yeah, it's one of the best classes.
Yeah. I have to say, like, Chieftain was the one that first came to my mind when I realized how bad the mods were. I didn't instantly realize how bad they were. I was just like, the more I thought about it, the more the worse it became.
Yeah.
Like, my issue was they're talking about these mods and they kept talking about the mods and they kept going with more mods. It was like, yeah, we're going to do this. Oh, okay, we're going to do this. Also, we're going to do this. And if that wasn't enough, but wait, there's more. Like, oh my God. When he mentioned 40% haste, that's when I, like, my ears perked up. I was like, oh no, this is all going to be bad.
Well, one thing that I think would have made me probably play Marauder was if Kilmsway was not nerfed. Because they nerfed Kilmsway, I don't know if it was this patch or last patch, and I think in this Gauntlet you actually have time to farm them up, and if you can farm them up, then you can probably make a character that can just stay in like any fight like forever. But like that's gone, so it's kind of sad.
Sorry, can you specify again what got nerfed exactly?
Kilms with regen. Like it used to be 0.4% life regen per endurance charge.
And they lowered it?
Yeah, they cut it in half. So
when they added the mods,
and they also removed the small node that Chieftain had that gave you regen per endurance charge. Also, you used to have like 0.5, I think it was.
Yeah,
I think it was like 0.5.
Per endurance charge got nerfed hard.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. I had successfully repressed the memory of that harsh nerf.
Yeah, I was pretty pissed when I saw that nerf. I was like, come on, man.
Yep.
Come on.
All right, so it's no.
I guess lastly, we got Templar.
I mean, unless you could still consider Ascendant an actual class, but
I forgot Ascendant.
But between Guardian and Hierophant and Inquisitor, who takes the cake? And with what?
I mean, Hyro and Inquis have both have builds, I think. Like, you know, you can obviously do Hyro EA totems, but I think that thing's dead. That thing doesn't live.
It's just strictly worse than the champion version at this point for the Gauntlet.
It's more recovery. It's more recovery, at least.
It's got an extra totem. Don't spend it all in one place.
What about other totem? Like, what about spell totems and the like? Spell totems are in a pretty bad spot. But they're not completely dead, and it is a safe lifestyle. Like, you can have Hierophant can have a huge buffer tank where you're very, very resilient to one-shots.
Yeah, Hyro gets endurance charges, which is pretty valuable this Gauntlet.
Yeah, you've got endurance charges, you've just got an enormous amount of flat health.
Well, I guess, I mean, dots are still going to, degens are still going to get you.
Yeah.
When you said he has an enormous amount of flat health, you meant going Mind Over Matter, or?
Yeah, Mind Over Matter, which then dots are an issue, but I think
I can't think of an MOM build that would be successful in Gauntlet.
Hold on, I thought of something the other day, I think. What was it? Maybe I erased it from my memory already.
I was looking at some Guardian setups that were using Eldritch Battery via the helmet from Katarina. Eldritch Battery, Mind Over Matter. But then again, like you said, I mean,
put Katarina for that.
Yeah, you got to kill Katarina for that. And then what build are you playing with Guardian, right? I mean, probably the only things that you can do are minion builds. And then what are you doing? Herald of Agony? Or I've been looking at Absolution, but I really can't see my Absolution minions live before I get Blessed Rebirth. So I don't know.
Yeah, the problem is I think Templar just dies. Is a problem. It's like Inquis, for example, has the recovery, but it just dies to hits. Again, that's the problem. The requirements, you need everything. You need to live against hits. You need to live against degens. You need to live against fizz. There's so many things, and most classes just don't have everything. You just have to. You're gonna have to deal with something. Something will be able to kill you. That's the problem. But
there's
as far as the best
knowledge of when that stuff is coming, though, can bail you out of a lot of problems if you're aware when the thing that you build is weak against is coming up.
Yeah, you can account for a bunch of the sources of these dangers. But sometimes it just sometimes you see a map and suddenly puncture mobs somewhere and you're bleeding out of nowhere, or a dog like the dogs you were talking about earlier just gets a bleed on you and quarter of a second and you're dead if you don't pay attention or if your flasks are down.
Yeah, you're basically, again, with the haste, you're going to see the resurrect screen 40% faster. So, sure, you can mentally account sometimes for knowing some of the things that's going to kill you, but if you're playing tired at all in this gauntlet, you're just going to get hit out of left field by something. Just even for that millisecond where you're not paying attention, you're just dead.
Yeah.
Oh, you off if you're tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I love Gauntlet, and I'm usually a spectator in Gauntlet. Last time was the only time that I finally got time to really push and play and really enjoy it. Because again, the whole work schedule, the not being available to game as much as I'd like to, right? The adulting. But it's one of those things where just watching some of these players, that's one of the things that blows my mind more than anything. Their ability to focus for that period of time and not get gibbed out of nowhere for these 16-hour, 18-hour, literally 30-hour sessions. It's crazy. And I know a lot of people get flack for dying to something dumb, but when you're playing under those conditions, and especially if you're streaming, that ain't easy. That is something that's going to be extremely tough. And I think almost some of the streamers are going to be at a disadvantage if they even have the idea of paying attention to chat in this gauntlet.
Yeah, there's always a moment where you get complacent and you think, oh yeah, now I can read some messages while farming, and then it's going to hit you.
My favorite way of dying to that for me was in a vulnerability map, getting hit by a beast. Sure, it's being captured by Einhar, and then the Tiger's Prey ones, where the tiger comes out and just slashes you. Einhar's capturing. I look away for half a second. I look up and I'm dead because it bled me. It took 2 steps.
Yep. I mean, I've decided a long time ago to learn from these mishaps, dying reading chat all the time. So for this gauntlet especially, I am just gonna try to focus as much as possible. Not even in my practice. I remember glimpsing on my chat for a split second, and then I looked at my screen and I was dead because I just ran into the blight dogs, the blight monsters. Yeah, there's like some dogs that cast blight, and I just died like instantly. In that split second, I was like, yeah, okay.
Like, I might not even like, if I do stream it, I just don't put chat up and just like focus on it. It's there just to record any of my deaths so I can learn from it or something. Like, it'll literally just be used for that purpose.
Yeah, I'm thinking that as well. Just deactivate chat, like do the pop out and minimize it, and then just bring it up when you're in hideout and when you're taking a break or like in between maps and respond to questions.
Yeah, something of that sort. But actually, cArn, speaking of deaths, how many did you type / deaths before you logged off your practice? I'm curious.
No, but I know the deaths I have. Like on my duelist, on my Slayer, you mean, or the Sabo?
On the Slayer.
On the Slayer, what did I die to?
Actually, on both, you know.
Like the Sabo, I think I died a few times. Like the Blight, looking at chat real quick, death. I think I died to a couple degens. I kept dying to degens, I think, on the Sabo, like a few times, like maybe 2-3 times, something like this. Not that many. And the Slayer, I think, it was. I didn't die that much, but I didn't push it too far. I think I only pushed it to like tier 9 maps or something.
Still.
Yeah. And on the Slayer, are we talking about like death, or like death that actually like would have happened, for example?
Yeah, let's just go with would have happened deaths, like not like limit testing.
I think I died to Zizaran once. I got greedy, and stuck in animation. Couldn't flame dash in time. And I think. Yeah, I think that's all really.
That's amazing.
I died on the Slayer. Oh no, I died doing a Maven invitation where I put the shipyard boss. And I would not have died because I was getting wrecked and I just tried to stay in there. But still, that's something that I won't do. I know I won't do next time. I put the shipyard boss in there. That boss is completely cracked with these mods.
Which one again?
The shipyard boss.
Shipyard boss.
The lightning tendrils.
Yeah, the lightning warband.
Yeah, he just catches you from anywhere in the arena. It just doesn't. You take like infinite damage. It's crazy. At least with that spell suppression cap, because I was not spell suppression cap, which is another thing I would probably have done before. But besides that, I don't think I can think of a death that was like, something that would have happened in the race. Besides, Izaro getting greedy. It was just a misplay basically. But like surprisingly, mapping, I think I have 0 death on the Slayer.
Wow.
Defense is really good.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, no, I don't have.
So then, last and maybe not least, the Ascendant, the Scion. Is there any chance that there's going to be a Scion that's going to do well that is not someone who already won a different class and then or did well on a previous class and then put all their gear onto the Scion and did an inferior version of the build that they did on a pure class?
If they can get past Hillock? Yes.
I mean, no one's going to complete the gauntlet most likely on this one, so the chances are lower that that happens, right? Like,
I mean, Jong says he's gonna. Jong's playing Scion EA, and he says he's gonna, well, I mean, it's classic Jong before Gauntlet,
What did he say he's gonna do? He's gonna win?
Yeah, full clear, no sleep. Okay, not full sleep, no sleep.
16 hours.
16 hours, full clear, Scion EA. Yep. Classic Jong. No, but yeah, he thinks it's a good build, so. But I actually don't even think it's like too cooked for once. I think it's not bad. It's like
do you know what ascendancies he's planning to go for the EA totems, or was it pure EA?
I think it's he's doing Pathfinder. Pathfinder what actually?
Berserker? Or not Berserker? Sorry. Jug, possibly?
I don't remember. Pathfinder something. How did I forget what's the other one? Hold up.
Chieftain? I would assume you go Marauder, though.
I actually don't even remember. What was it?
No idea.
I just saw Pathfinder.
What I guess the one thing that's really good about Ascendant is that that's the only ascendancy where you can switch your ascendancy, kind of, because you can't switch from duelist to slayer, from champion to slayer.
No, you can.
You can in this one.
You can still? Okay, sorry.
It was just last time with the demis that you couldn't.
Oh, right.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you can.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think Scion is too cooked, because you have some recovery, right? Because of if you Pathfinder, it kind of helps. Although it's not the best, right? But still, it's something.
It's more viable than a lot of the other options.
Yeah. I can't see a way to make the old physical spellslinger work well in this. Like, you can get past block easily enough, but that's not enough of a defensive layer.
Like, just Silent Pathfinder anything is pretty good right now. Like, but Silent Pathfinder offers so much. So I'm pretty sure if you play Scion, you always get Pathfinder, and then you feel with whatever.
Yeah, in the very end, you definitely always get Pathfinder, I think. But you might on the way there, maybe not. Because, I don't know. I guess you're less dependent on actually being able to roll your flasks. Than the
Yeah, but you still need to, that's a big problem with Pathfinder. Like, you need your flasks rolled, or you don't have an ascendancy. That's a big problem. It's not so much about rolling the flask either. It's also about having the enkindling orbs. Is it? No, it's the other ones.
Instilling orbs?
Yeah, you need the instilling orbs to automate them. Otherwise, it doesn't help. That's a big problem. And instilling orb, like, they're actually hard to find. Like, you don't find them many.
There is a recipe, though, to turn enkindling into instilling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
bad, right? And enkindling's just as rare.
Yeah. So it's like, until you get those, like, what do? You need to roll the flask, you need to get the orbs. That's my biggest problem with it.
And that recipe requires an elk every time from memory as well.
Yeah, I think it's one elk. It's like two orbs and one elk, I think.
The elk is indirect. It's in the form of a trigger gem, like a custom damage taken, but they all cost.
Yeah, but you need an elk. I mean, yeah, it's like whatever.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we got through the classes then. I think we already touched on a lot of the new content. Is there anything that we want to warn Tryxt of?
Please help.
I mean, the Searing Exarch and the Eater of Worlds progression. We talked about the bosses. They're going to be unpleasant, specifically the Infinite Hunger.
Yep.
Any easy farming strats that are good enough to be worth mentioning, but not good enough so you can share them?
Perfect middle ground.
I mean, Arch Nemesis, you know.
Are people actually going to do Arch Nemesis in Endgame? The Shikari touch stuff?
Oh, yeah, okay, not that far, though.
Not that far?
I mean, I know some people that want to do it, but I won't. I'm not gonna put... It's unnecessary anyway, I think.
Well, it depends. I mean, I know that Zizaran swears by the Shikari touch stuff to farm Blastdome in the regular league. I don't know whether he's actually planning to do that in the Gauntlet, though.
I know Zai wants to farm that. Farm Shikari stuff.
Yeah.
That's again, like I said, he's on some serious grade A tier fucking copium.
Is he doing EA?
Yeah.
He sounded really confident about it as well.
Oh yeah, he's very confident. That's what happens when you inhale enough.
So one thing that you should consider if you're having trouble getting Conqueror maps, or Elder Guardian maps or something, is Abrath touched with Treant. It's very dangerous, but it will get you them. Got to be on tier 16, but you can do it on a scout.
You just gotta look out so much with Arch Nemesis what the base monster is. I did one Shikari touched in a like tier 15 map in standard, and I put it on a Kitava Herald, and it was so bad.
Oh no!
I died 5 times or so.
Oh no!
I almost didn't get it down in the map. I almost burned all my portals.
Yep.
Yeah, you gotta be very careful with this.
Yeah,
Actually,
even
Archnemesis is not that bad as long as you pay attention to the monster you put in.
I died way too much to it and got burned on it and then skipped it for the majority of the league. So that was a mistake, because now I don't really know what is safe to do and what's not safe to do. I'm just generally scared of it, and I'm tempted to just say I'm not going to do it at all. But it does really provide some unique opportunities to farm stuff.
yeah.
My problem was sorry. Go ahead.
Especially if you want something very specific, Arch Nemesis is a way to direct your farming in a certain direction.
Yeah, it helps you target stuff you need. You know,
Mm.
like for example, I remember the League Star race for the new bosses. We obviously we're skipping Arch Nemesis because we don't know. It was most likely Rippy. And it turned out, and the currency was struggling so badly on currency during the race. I had like no arcs, no nothing, no arcs, no chaos, nothing. Couldn't buy maps from Kirak. It was awful. And so like Arch Nemesis fixes that problem. For example, there's a lot of stuff like that gets fixed by Arch Nemesis. So you kind of have to do it, I think.
Yeah, if you want a specific tier 3 rarity unique like Cold Iron Point, Arch Nemesis is your friend.
Yeah. That means you don't have to do heist.
Yep, which you can still do as well. You're going to need to do heist if you want to win my bounty.
Yeah, that's maybe
All
a
right.
perfect segue.
All right.
You want to talk about your bounty, Sirgog?
Oh, well, I can if you want. It's just a tour of endgame. You have to create an item that's going to require you to do a bunch of different tier 16 content. So you're going to need to come across a cold attuned buckler, which is a heist exclusive base comes in the replica unique grand heist curios. It needs to be item level 86, which can only drop in a level 83 grand heist. Then you're going to need to make it Shaper and Elder influenced, which is going to require, in normal gameplay, a Conqueror Exalt, Harvest Reforge influence, and then an Awaken Resolve to finish it. So basically, it's a tour of endgame. The idea was that by forcing you to take a whole bunch of different steps, that means that if you get bad RNG on one of them, you're not going to get locked out completely from winning it. So if you have bad luck finding the I-83 blueprints, then that's going to set you back. But you're still going to need a Conqueror Exalt and an Awaken Resolve. So there's still things that you can still chase down in the interim.
I mean, getting the 86 and an 83 heist is also RNG, right? It could be 85, it could be 84, right? It's +1, 2 + 3, or 0 + 3.
Right. It's +1 to 3.
Oh.
So it's 1 in 3 that it'll be 86, but that Cold Attune bucklers are not very rare. It's one of the level 70 bases, and the level 70 ones are more common than the 50s and the 30s once they all come online.
Oh, keep your $265. I didn't need it.
He really wants a shield. He really wants a shield.
Yeah.
I think it'll be rippy because like blueprints, I mean, you're going to scour your blueprints, but blueprints still just have a lot of monster density, like it is off the charts in them, and it'll be very easy to die in there.
Which one is it? Is it in Temporal Heist or is it in the
bunker?
It's in a replicas and experimented bases.
Oh, okay. So it's the chaos ones then.
Not the gem ones.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Man,
It's gonna be rippy.
83 heists are gonna be so scary.
The 83 Templar heist with these mods, I'm not entering that thing.
Well, it's not even just that, but you then have to use a Conqueror Exalted Orb that you find rather than on a piece of gear that you really want to utilize. Then you're going to have to use an Awakener's Orb, which you also might want to utilize elsewhere. And then you also got to do influence shifts. Well,
Well, you'd
influence just before the Awakener's Orb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a trivial thing to pull off. I think that if this had been last Gauntlet, it would have gone off about 72 hours in, but the last Gauntlet was an easy one.
Yeah, 72 hours in, you sure? Because
Nah, I think it would
I
have
don't
taken
think
longer.
so.
people are gonna wait with this until they completed their character, right?
Yeah.
Because they
Otherwise,
all the
you utilize the
resources.
currency that you need.
Yeah.
I think there's a tier of players that aren't confident that they can beat them even in the field, so they don't think they can win. Those sorts of players might go for this.
But they still need to farm an Awakener Orb.
Yeah.
I mean, last league was okay though. Last league was not too bad.
We'll see.
I guess.
I'm curious to see how long it takes.
Yeah, if you hit the $7, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard.
Already talked a little bit about the Montregal's Grasp one. There's also a bounty where you have to kill Cortex with the controller. That sounds pretty mean.
That's great.
Console peasant bounty.
One thing I do want to say actually about some of the bounties, like these meme ones. Okay, so last one I really badly wanted to do the ollie over your mouse with a tech deck or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Because like I used to play with those damn things in high school. I can still do a kickflip on those damn things. So you know what? If somebody puts a kickflip over it, that might be a lot tougher because that takes a few tries. But I'm in. Let's do this. I'm Exile. Bring it on.
Yeah, it was a good bounty.
Yeah.
Nick was so happy.
He was trying for a while to get it done.
Yeah, that's great. He was saying that on the interview with Ziz that his dad went out and bought him a tech deck because he just called him up. He's like, "Hey, are you like Target or something? Buy me one of those things if you can find it."
Yeah, the one to do Cyrus while singing was hilarious as well. It's like
I do love these meme bounties. These are the ones. This is the way.
Be tempted to do, like, if I was going to do something like that, it'd be We Didn't Start the Fire or 1 week, something that's a lot longer and harder.
What do you think about the fastest Uber lab? Is anyone even gonna be able to do Uber lab?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, regular Uber lab already sounds like a pretty scary thing.
I think you can probably. I think my build should be able to do it.
Yeah, Uber lab will get done.
Yeah, I think
somebody's going to do it. But the thing is, it's fastest time, right? Somebody's going to fly. A bunch of people are going to fly too close to the sun if they actually want to do it, and it's going to be at the very end.
Yeah, that's what's nice. People are going to die trying to do it.
Yeah,
it'll be a last day. It'll be one on the last day, and there'll be a lot of deaths. People going for it on the last day.
The question is, though, how many people are going to be going for that on the last day versus actually still trying to be able to do the feared or another encounter that likely is going to kill them too?
Oh, maybe they already did the feared.
Question is, how many people did not rage quit by day 10?
Day 10? I think it's going to happen way earlier than this.
So cArn's going to play Slayer, and I'm going to play Elden Ring. Okay, cool. I'll still have less deaths, though, than if I was to play the Gauntlet, I think, in Elden Ring.
I've got to get around to playing that game.
Oh my god. I'm not necessarily playing Slayer. I don't know yet, okay? Like, this is not decided. I'm
in
still,
the works, though. You have to now that people are going to meme on you on it, right? So you have to just prove them wrong.
I mean, I guess. I already did though, so that's the thing. They're already memeing, and they got shut down. Maybe we should do it again. I want to do it again.
If you do it again, they're still gonna meme though.
Yeah, I know. It's never ending.
Yeah, I mean, you said Slayer and Chieftain are the best choices, so go for it.
I mean, to live, to survive, not necessarily to full clear.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because full clear is not. I mean,
it's something different.
It's like it's hard. Like, because I was thinking, like, if you don't survive, like, you don't even get a shot. And I think all of the ascendancies don't have a good chance at all at surviving. I think even Sabo and Necro just die. I think Necro probably, maybe no. I think eventually you just die. You just get clapped by something, or either a Degen or a big fizz hit, because Sabo and Necro don't have good defenses against this. Sabo is a bit better, but it's not good enough still.
Yeah, you get very little regen with Necro, but at least again, Leech
Again, none.
Shade.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. At least Shade maybe max res. The thing is, like, you would need melding, I guess. Melding fixes a lot of problems for these builds that don't have necessarily a lot of like good damage mitigation. And even then you still need to fix the fizz. This is like I said, it's a headache.
it's a catch-22 for sure. Like, you're gonna have to sacrifice somewhere, skimp somewhere, and that's what's gonna get you.
Mm.
Yep.
Just pain.
So again, I think this has been answered, but for any like inexperienced new players, what's going to be the best / easiest way to get to level 50 to enter the raffle or the MTX box and to get some hardcore street credibility? Because as we said earlier, no one should be playing this just for the chance to get a box. But if your goal is to, hey, I'm going to get to level 50 this gauntlet, even though I'm not a hardcore player and I have no or barely any experience with Gauntlet, what would you recommend? Is it actually still Slayer?
Guts says claw attack champion.
Not Slayer, because Slayer first lab is not that good. I would do champ. Champ steal skills champ easily, I think. That or poison concoction. Actually, poison concoction Sabo. Not even joking.
Poisonous concoction saboteur.
Yeah, you go blind first lab, you don't die.
True.
It's really good. And you have everything on the tree. I'd go Peacock, Sabo, or what else can do it? And I think Sabo is actually the best, just to get to 50.
Just because Sabo has the best
go
first lab.
I'd either go Duelist, or I would honestly like Ventrua's guide for Saboteur. Just do like Lightning Trap into Fizz Trap. I'm sure that still works just fine.
Yeah, you can also
Ventrua's guide in that is very, very well done. So
yeah, you can do that on just a regular trapper too. But I feel like Poison Concoction has the advantage of getting. Well, actually, does it even get more recovery? Maybe it's a good recovery, and you get to use a shield.
Poison Concoction is very strong for leveling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, these are the two, I think.
Yeah, I still think I'd want to go some sort of champion just for the like when you get Defiant Spanner for free, you've got Determination, you've got Cast 1 Damage Taken, Molten Shell. That's gonna get you through Act 4, which is where the danger is. You don't need to push any further. You don't need to do Innocence if you're going for 50.
Yeah, you just farm chamber. Well, I mean, I don't even know if you need to get. No, you cannot do. Get to chamber and farm there.
Yeah. What about if your goal was to beat Katava and Triple Ascend? Want to go a little further?
The champ is still probably the play, or Sabo.
Yeah, champ Sabo, I guess. Yeah, champ Sabo, probably.
And then what about 90 quad ascended?
90, I would say Slayer though. I think Slayer, for sure.
Go with champ Sabo again.
No, champ will die on the way to 90. Slayer has the highest chance of surviving. I would say even Chieftain, I guess. You could also do Chieftain, but you could also do Chieftain. Again, because it only comes down to surviving at this point. If you want to get to level 90, you just want to live, and the classes most likely to live are Slayer, Chieftain, and to an extent Necro, I think. Necro DD also. It's pretty good for 90.
Yeah. The thing is also, if your goal is only to get to 90, then you can also take your time, right? If you want to do endgame stuff, you kind of have to rush a little bit because you don't want to run out of time, but yeah, but if you only want to get to level 90 and you distribute that, or like spread that out over the course of the entire event, then you can solidly overlevel and overgear and overcome a lot of things with that.
Yeah. Like, I reckon you could go champion Toxic Rain, for instance, in that case. Something that took a bit of a nerf, but is still doing enough damage for this, for getting to 90. You got enough damage for Eternal Lab.
I don't think I can ever play Toxic Rain again, man. I played a pre-nerf a couple of times, and then they nerfed, they halved the slow on the Spore Pods, and halved the cap of that, and then they made the level 20 base damage equal to the previous level 19 base damage, basically. So it like took off a gem level.
And if you were to make a main build with no intention of winning, what would it be?
What did you say?
If you were trying to just play a meme build, you're not trying to win. You're just trying to have a bit of a laugh and get a little bit of the way through the game. But whilst having a bit of a joke, what would you play then?
Not Gauntlet.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it in Gauntlet.
There's no messing around in this Gauntlet. The gloves are off, or you're on the beach.
The Joker in me wants to try that with Soul Rand.
What's the phrase?
Soul Rand? Oh my god.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah. Emphasis on finding out.
I mean, you have 10 days, So.
On what class would you do Soul Rend?
Cultist, probably.
Cultist?
How are you going to get to the point where you even use Soul Rend?
So you're saying...
How are you going to get to the point where you become a cultist?
You guys are talking me into it, aren't you?
I guess you could become a cultist by just being like 10 levels above everywhere. Just, over farming for days.
Diddle in chat saying Soul Rand Trickster was their answer for a meme.
Not gonna lie, I was thinking Hex Blast, like when I first went through the classes for myself and decided what to play, but Hex Blast is like, you first need to curse and then need to Hex Blast. And
yeah, Hex Blast Elementalist could do okay until it gets hit by anything.
Yeah, that sounds like sounds like a lot of things. Well, actually, speaking of delay, that's why I don't believe in EA, by the way. It's like you have to put down a totem that then shoots arrows that place fuses that you have to wait to explode, and they explode, and then the ignite starts dealing damage. In the meantime, you have a 40% hasted monsters.
getting out 3 rounds of attacks.
Yeah.
On bosses, though, at least that you drop your totems and now you have some decent sustained damage while you're running around with your head cut off. But there's gonna be that one time where it's gonna attack the totem, and you run by your totem thinking you're about to dodge something, and then you just get slapped.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, mechanically, EA is really good. EA totems is very, very good for bosses. Again, the prime just recovery and getting there. I just don't think it lives to the bosses. And then once it gets to the bosses, it still has issues. Like
It's definitely a contender.
Yeah, it is for sure. But I just don't see it. And I don't see many things getting anywhere. Honestly, it's Gauntlet anyway.
So, do you have a prediction of how many people do you think will kill the Feared? How many people do we think will actually complete the Gauntlet?
Chances are no one will complete this one, but I'm not an expert on this, so I'm curious to hear cArn's opinion.
I'm hoping at least one, and I'm hoping that's me. But besides that, I don't know. I can't even say confidently someone will finish. I think it's very possible that no one finishes. Yeah, it's very possible no one finishes. But I think if there is people finishing Gauntlet, I think it's gonna be 1, maybe 2, and even then, that sounds very unlikely. I think 1 to 2. Like even in much easier gauntlets, you would have gauntlets with 3 finishers or something like this. This is way harder. Way harder. I wouldn't be surprised no one finishes. I would say I'll say 1. I'll say 1 will finish.
So last one, people were asking me like, how many people do you think will finish? I'm like, I don't think anyone's killing the hidden. And then I killed the hidden. And I'm like, oh, like, but other people had already done it, obviously. But like, oh, okay, well, you know what? I've been wrong before, but I am going to go with 0. I think.
0?
Yeah. I think the feared is just with 40% and double damage, anything that the feared touches you with, you basically die.
I'm not even worried about the feared the most. I'm not too scared of the feared. I think if I get to the feared, I'll kill it.
So just the getting there?
Yeah, getting there and killing the other things.
Yeah.
Like,
doing the
I'm
witnesses
more,
for it even.
Yeah, even witnessing cortex can be like, depending on what you get, can be sketch.
Mm.
Maven heals on anything, you're pretty much hooped.
Yeah, depending on the build, yeah. And I think I'm extremely worried about formed. I think formed is a huge issue.
Mm.
Yep.
Hidden too, obviously. So like, because they have DPS checks, right? So if you don't have the DPS, the fight becomes like extremely difficult. In Fear, there's no DPS check. Not really. Like if you play well, you can stay in the fight for a very long time. And if you have like decent order, but staying in a form or hidden when there's like all 4 of them blasting your face, no, it's gonna be hard with these mods.
Yeah, Minotaur is going to be scary.
Yeah, Minotaur plus Hydra together is a nightmare.
Yep.
Yeah,
At least there's no GMP Hydra this time, right?
Yeah, it's double damage Hydra though.
It's the little things,
Yeah.
Hydra's turret's terrifying in this. Like they fire at you from an unexpected direction and they're going to deal double damage.
Yeah, they used to not be dangerous. They might be actually dangerous. They might actually deal damage now because they were not doing much damage with spell suppression.
No, but now they're going to be back to really hurting. They're not going to one shot, but they're going to set up one shot. Or they're going to set up 2 shots.
I'd say 3 on a build
like they hit you and then something else kills you before you recover the life. Yeah. Not necessarily a second turret ball, but something else in the arena. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think I think a ball plus any Hydra shot probably kills. I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm. Armor is very good against Hydra though. Now.
Well, yeah.
I was doing some testing and standing in front of Hydra's barrage. The point blank barrage with 100,000 armor, and it was not even tickling.
I mean, it's 100k armor.
You're not going to have 100,000 in this, but you can easily get 55. Like that's just determination, defiance, banner, and a bit of gear. And and you can get 100 if you go iron reflexes. Whether that's the right decision, it's not an open question, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We pretty much covered all the ground. Is there anything that you still want to talk about before we do a closing round and end the podcast? Because I think we covered everything and a little bit more. I mean, everything that we set out to cover, and then we added the Atlas passes in. Because if you don't have anything, then I'd like to ask cArn whether you're still planning a fundraiser for a bounty. Do you already
I never planned anything like this.
You never planned anything like that?
No. Yeah.
Wait, you just do it spontaneously instead of planning, or you don't do any?
I usually don't do them. Okay. I'm too busy preparing for the event.
Mm.
Yeah,
I want all my thoughts are just focused on the race.
True.
Good luck with it.
So I usually don't, unfortunately.
Well, cool then. We'll be rooting for you.
Thanks.
Speaking for
thank
myself. Thank you for coming on.
I want to be stepping over his dead body. No, I'm going to do terribly.
Yeah. Tryxt is going to win the gauntlet.
Everybody's going to just be stepping over each other's bodies anyway. So I'm gonna step on one's body, and then I'm gonna fall, and then he's gonna come back, step on my body, and that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, pretty much, actually. It's going to be a lot of trading places.
Yeah.
If you
I
don't,
think it's gonna. Honestly, I think it's gonna be about who's the most resilient, probably.
Who's the most tilt-proof?
Yeah, who can go again?
That war of
Because
attrition.
we're gonna have to go again.
yep,
I hope not, but I'm expecting to.
yeah. If you lose a character in Act 2, cArn, I'll aspire to stepping over its corpse.
I wonder, last Gauntlet there was, 265,000 unique characters or something and 65,000 accounts?
Yep.
I'm wondering if there's going to be like 30,000 accounts playing this one compared to last one, because obviously the barrier of entry is much higher. But then there's going to be like 470,000 characters.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I'm really curious what the numbers are for the event, given how this is gonna go.
I think a lot of people just give it a go for the experience. There'll be a lot of people that will be like, that have no expectations of beating Act 1, and some of them will. But a lot of them will just be like, let's just give this a go, see if it's fun. And I'd encourage people to do that.
I would encourage people to do that as well, because I, again, went in there with no practice thinking that I was going to fail miserably. And I did a couple of times, for sure. And I was like, you know what? If I beat Mudflats, I'll be okay. And then, got past Uber Elder. So if I can do it, somebody else sure as hell can. Right?
But
at least that's what I'm going to tell them and debate them into.
Don't you have less preparation this time?
Pardon?
Than last time? Don't you have less preparation this time than last time?
You know what? I probably have about the same amount.
Oh, okay.
So the last one, I didn't get to play the 2 leagues prior to it, basically. Maybe I have a little bit more preparation, but the end game's just changed so substantially since last Gauntlet, right? I think I'm in a similar position as to having no practice, having no expectation, I guess.
Oh, well then you're good, almost clear.
Right?
Yeah, only one boss. Let's see if we can get it this time.
Yeah, that's that. Honestly, like last time though, I did not think I would get anywhere near as far as I did. And then at the end, I was kind of upset because I didn't get Uber Ziri down. It was like I couldn't get the fragments to even fight her, so that kind of gated me right there, which kind of sucked. Because at least I could have, gone with the Warrior's Death if I got to fight her, possibly.
But I'll show you.
It is what it is. I made it further than I thought I would, so I should just be happy with that.
Yeah, I'll just be happy if I make it to 95 again. I believe the only time I made it to 95 or past 95 was in the one gauntlet that didn't have GMP and only the AoE, and it was relatively tame. And I think I played Earthquake Bleed Gladiator back then, and that worked like a charm. But obviously since then a lot of things changed, and this is a lot harder. And I think last time when I was doing the Ascendant Seismic Trapper, I got to 94, I believe, or 93. Yeah, if I get past 95 this time, I will be very happy. But honestly, I'll already tap myself on the shoulder if I make it to 90. I don't have high hopes, and like pretty much all of us, I don't know what I'm going to play yet. It's gonna.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has. I don't think anybody has any high hopes. Everybody's just like, all right, let's just see how much we're gonna suffer and see what we get.
I'm gonna be a storyline enjoyer. Do the acts over and over again.
Yeah, this is gonna be league style practice.
I'm gonna do a lore run. Another thing I quickly want to draw attention to. Okay, please go ahead. Go.
Oh no! Oh, you go.
I go. Okay. No, I just wanted to say on PoE-racing.com, last time they did a prediction event where you could gain points, like compete with others in gaining points, predicting who will win the gauntlet, who will win which class, and so on, and what will be the most played skill. And the next prediction will be released on 31st of March. That's the day before gauntlet. So yeah, guys, make sure that you got your account linked with the PoE-racing and take part, because these prediction things are extremely fun, even though there's no prizes or anything for them, but it's cool.
Yeah,
And
these are gonna
someone
be
asked
wild.
in chat about the mortal fragment zones, the alluring valve side areas. Those are incredibly rippy. They are a one-way trip to standard.
You can do. I think you can do them in tier 1. Yeah, yeah, they're rippy, but I think you can do them in tier 1 maps. And
Probably still a one-way trip to standard in tier 1. Those
Every
things
trip to standard is one way.
I mean, you're gonna have a lot of ways to pick from, a lot of roads, a lot of doors to open to standard this time. So just pick one.
Nope. Well, with that said, I think that's a great point to conclude on. I want to thank you all for coming on and making this time work. For some people, it was harder than for others, and thanks for accommodating. And also thanks for everyone tuning in. If you missed the beginning of the podcast, which is quite a high chance because we've been going for close to 4 hours now, I believe. Definitely more than 3. Oh yeah, 3.5. This will be found in full on my YouTube, 24 hours from the start, and as well as all podcast platforms, most notably Spotify, Deezer, Stitcher, and a bunch of smaller ones. So yeah, make sure to check that out. And so there's something else that I always mention at this point, but my brain is so fried from the long podcast. Thanks to Zizaran and Viyro for organizing this and getting the huge sponsors on board that fund a large part of the prize pool. Thanks to all the people who contribute to the prize pool by throwing money at Zizaran and setting up these bounties. I think the bounties make a big part of what makes the Gauntlet so fun. And obviously thanks to GGG for delivering an awesome game and an outstanding patch with 3.17 that has really has been received very well by most of us in the community. And I personally don't know anyone who doesn't say that the game is in the best state that it's been in the past year.
So it's missing one thing though.
One thing?
Yeah, it's missing one thing.
The game?
The game right now. Yeah.
What is that? Inbuilt copium?
No, slams, dude. Why are my slams? Give me my slams back.
All right, yeah. All right. So everything in the
seismic
game...
cry.
Yeah, seismic cry is sad, that's true. But so everything except slams in the game is in the best state.
Okay, yes.
All right. Well, thanks again. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you for the next podcast, which will be somewhere probably we won't do one during the Gauntlet, unless there's a bunch of people who already completed it and want to come on for an interview talking about it. But I doubt that next Saturday will be already completed. And I mean, they'd have to complete before, so we'd be able to plan it out. So there's probably only going to be one after the Gauntlet. And I'll try to have some people on who did well. And that will be announced on social media probably a couple of days or, like this one, a day beforehand. And that's that. Thanks. Have a wonderful Gauntlet practice until the Gauntlet starts. And I wish everyone all the best luck and success. And yeah, I mean, everyone's going to die. Just try to die as little as possible.
Yep.
Make your death fun.